gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vid. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Escaped prisoner Danilo Cavalcante slipped out of the police perimeter and was spotted about 25 miles north near Phoenixville. There was an aftershock in Morocco Sunday after Friday's earthquake killed more than 2,000 people. And it wasn't pretty, but the Eagles held on to win their season opener against the Patriots 25-20.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
For all of you who love to cook Italian, here's a mouth-watering message from Cento.
Baked lasagna, manicotti, clam sauce with linguine, chicken parmigiana, and tuna capellini, gnocchi alla rosa sauce, pomodoro frittata, pappardelle, perciatelli, pasta caponata.
How do you give those dishes authentic old-world flavor? Authentic Italian cooking begins with Cento. Cento for taste that sings. Cento. Trust your family with our family.
Miller Lite has high hopes for the Phillies this season, so catch every game at Autobahn Ale House in Autobahn with a $3 Miller Lite draft special. The Ale House features an extensive pub menu featuring the best wings in the area, from mild to feasting to sweet desert heat. The Ale House also features 12 rotating craft beer taps and a beer-to-go store, so enjoy every Phil's game at Autobahn Ale House. Autobahn Ale House, proud partner of WIP's High Hopes Pod with James Seltzer and Jack Fritz. It's Miller time, Phillies fans. Celebrate responsibly.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, could be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go, live on this Monday, September 11th. It is indeed Kayal and Company here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We are always live on the free Odyssey app and, of course, streaming live for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube as we head until 10 o'clock this morning. 855-839-1210, the number. On Twitter and Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT. I am at Nick Kayal. Kayal. Don Stensland with the news. Greg Stocker, the chairman of the board. Daniel Valdez, Anthony Dorenzo, our associate producers on a day in which we remember and we will never forget 9/11. Dawn, good morning. How are you? How was the weekend?
Good morning. Had a great weekend. How about you?
It was great. It was really good. Thank God the Eagles saved it. It would have been really bad.
Barely saved it.
Barely saved it.
There we go.
But a win's a win, as Andy Reid once said in this city. Any win's a good win in the National Football League. We got a lot of good stuff to get to today. We've got First and Second Amendment issues, both on a federal level and a state level. We also have what I think is now starting to become an embarrassing search for one escaped prisoner. And all sorts of other good stuff that transpired over the weekend. Donald Trump in Iowa attending a college football game. Mixed reaction there. And, I'm sure Dawn's going to get to it in the news, so I'll save it for then. But this Cavalcante thing's got to come to a close pretty soon.
Yeah, he's really making the law enforcement look bad.
He's at this point, he's just clowning people. He really is.
They're like, we have him in this perimeter. There's helicopters above. He's not going to get out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, he stole a car,
right,
or truck, van, whatever it was.
Then he ditched that.
And
it ran out of gas.
Yeah, exactly. Because somebody left the keys.
It's unbelievable. This is such an amazing story on so many fronts.
It really is. It's literally everywhere I went over the weekend, it's all anybody was talking about.
Me too.
Was this story.
That's what I was saying on Friday, because Thursday when we were at Parks, the bartenders wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing story. So we'll get to all sorts of good stuff as we move along this morning. Nike and Bud Light attacked by a former New York Yankee. We've got more issues in politics with the NFL, with social justice issues, and we've got an update on the Chip Challenge controversy.
Oh, boy.
A local publication, Delco Times, covering it, so we'll get to that as we continue later this morning. But right now, let's get the news. Round number 1, 6:05 Monday morning. Here is the great Dawn Stensland.
And good morning. We are sponsored by the Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby at Parks Racing. On this foggy morning, 70 degrees right now, I'll tell you about some unsettled weather today and through Wednesday of this week. Of course, this is Monday morning, September 11th. Americans looking back on the legacy of 9/11, gathering many gatherings, many commemorations today at memorials, firehouses, city halls across the country, and of course across our region as we think about the 22nd anniversary or commemoration, as I say, of the deadliest terror attack on United States soil. Commemoration stretching from the attack sites at New York's World Trade Center, as well as the Pentagon and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And President Joe Biden, by the way, is due at a ceremony on a military base in Alaska, in Anchorage today. We also have this escaped killer.
Alaska? Really?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to take a nap first.
Why?
He's got to go to bed first, and then he'll swing by Alaska.
Coming back from Vietnam.
He couldn't swing over to
New York City.
New York City, or even hell, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, or East Palestine.
Okay. He's in Alaska.
Yeah,
Alaska.
Big voter base out there.
Oh, my God.
We're going to go see the ice.
Man.
Speaking of ice, we have escaped killer still eluding capture since breaking out of that southeastern Pennsylvania prison a week and a half ago, apparently slipping out of that search area and then drastically changing his appearance. So Pennsylvania State Police holding another news conference yesterday saying that this escaped convicted killer, Danilo Souza Cavalcante, was seen overnight near Phoenixville in northern Chester County. When I say overnight, they were stating this yesterday, so it would have been Saturday into Sunday. But what's notable here is that the place he was spotted and captured on another camera was 20 miles northeast of the area that until now has been the focus of the search.
Yeah, he was in Phoenixville, right?
So, yes, and everybody was saying, oh, no, are they going to close the Phoenixville? Like Greg, everywhere I went yesterday, whether it was Chester County, Montgomery County, Bucks County, everybody's talking about it. But for those in Phoenixville, I have a lot of family there that are saying, oh, great, are we going to close schools?
I'm thinking maybe he'll swing by Bluebell, and I'll grab him a sandwich for lunch today when he makes his way past me.
So the drastic difference, he looks like he's lost weight. He looks like a child. So he is 5 feet tall and less than 120 pounds. And he got a hold of a razor, was able to clean himself up, but now clean shaven. They think he may have even shaved his head.
Oh.
But he's wearing a hoodie, so you can't tell, but they're saying he may have a shaved head.
He's getting help, isn't he?
Yes.
He has to be.
He's got. I mean, is he? Somebody's paying attention to social media and tipping him off to, hey, they think you're here. Why don't you go there?
Yeah.
Well, did you know they were turning off cell towers? So that was another disconcerting thing. I have one girlfriend who said, my husband's out of town. Now we don't have cell service.
Yes.
What if the guy comes to my house? I mean, I guess if you have Wi-Fi calling, but this is, people are growing weary and very critical of it if you live right there.
Yeah.
And the road closures.
Yes.
There were other cancellations, maybe not school over the weekend, obviously, but there were other cancellations in the community saying, what's the deal here? This is now, day 12?
Well, the reason they have that photo of him where his appearance is different is because he showed up on somebody's Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
He went to like a former colleague or coworker's house, knocked on the door. Luckily, that person wasn't home.
Yep.
But he's obviously, there's somebody helping him.
It's
right?
funny you mentioned a hoodie. I got to read this tweet. I was going to save it for later in the show when we talk about this more. But Jimmy Fallon had the greatest tweet of all time yesterday morning. He said authorities are now advising that the escaped Pennsylvania inmate is bald, wearing a hooded sweatshirt, and barely speaks English. Knowing Pennsylvania, if they catch him, they'll make him a senator. He fits the description of Fetterman.
So it's a sin. Well, he is a Brazilian man who is here illegally, speaks Portuguese, Spanish, and some English. He's 34 years old, escaped from Chester County Prison while awaiting transfer to state prison. This happened back on August 31st after he was sentenced to life for fatally stabbing his ex-girlfriend in 2021. He does have ties to Phoenixville, and his victim has family there as well, and the victim's family has been speaking out. But we're told Pennsylvania State Police, and there were others who confirmed this, who said that his sister, Cavalcante's sister, was arrested by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and so she now could face deportation herself.
Good.
Yeah.
Now they're moving into the community of illegals, and perhaps this threat of deportation of her and others will flush out this escaped killer. So that tip line, they're giving it out again, 717-562-2987. There's a $20,000 reward for information that leads to Cavalcante's capture.
How about Mama, who's pleading for him to turn himself in? Why don't we deport her too?
Yes.
Well,
deport the whole family.
Just ship them all out.
I think that's the threat here. Yeah, the mom, and we said last week, they recorded her and then blasted her crying and pleading and screaming on drones that were just going through neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And so that was a little disconcerting, too.
Right. So some of the screaming and the pleading sounded a lot like me yesterday when the Eagles blew a 16-0 lead.
And that brings us to sports. By the way, Novak Djokovic could not think about number 24 without thinking of his friend Kobe Bryant, who, of course, grew up here and is a native of Philadelphia, obviously. So after he won the U.S. Open last night for an historic 24th Grand Slam title, Djokovic put on a blue T-shirt honoring the L.A. Lakers great and Philadelphia area native.
Yeah, the best part of that story is he won some award for this tennis event sponsored by Moderna. He's not vaccinated.
Oh.
He's the guy that was banned from competing because he wasn't vaxxed.
That's well.
How about that for irony?
You're right. Shirt read Mamba Forever, honoring Kobe Bryant. Philadelphia Eagles coach Nick Sirianni says he regrets not playing QB Jalen Hurts in the offensive starters during the preseason. Maybe they needed more practice.
Yeah.
Following that sluggish offensive performance in a narrow 25-20 win over the Patriots. But we won. A win is a win.
The Eagles!
It is.
Yes.
So we won.
I have no idea how that game ended up the way it did. It was 16-0, and I'm like, New England is boring, and this game is over.
Yeah.
And then kaboom.
I know. Yeah, it's. I mean, did they over-prepare for Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots?
They didn't, as Dawn just said, Jalen Hurts didn't. They didn't do anything all summer. Geez, go figure. If you don't prepare, you won't thrive in your job.
All I know
Shocking.
all I know is that one hit Jalen Hurts took, it could have been very, very, very ugly.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
He goes out after the first game of the season.
Yep.
I mean,
time to re-sign Nick Foles. 6-1-0.
Say stop. It was rainy. It was the first day. They're rusty.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the Tom Brady eulogy that CBS gave all day long?
He doesn't look well, by the way. He looks very
thin.
gaunt.
Well, he's like you. He doesn't eat meat. He's he's so healthy. I almost think it's bad for him.
Well, he doesn't have Giselle taking care of him anymore.
Yeah.
Poor Tom.
Poor Tommy.
Let's not feel sorry for him. So our home opener Thursday against the Minnesota Vikings. And today, Philadelphia Phillies, Braves, a home game. It's a 1:05 game. And it's Germantown Academy's junior year. All the junior kids. Not that this is an audience of one, but it's kind of cool. The whole class is going to the Phil's game.
Your boy throwing out the first pitch?
No.
No?
No.
Probably couldn't do any worse than Fauci did a few years ago.
But that brings us to the NBC 10 forecast, which is not a great one because it's kind of some nasty weather through Wednesday, actually, unfortunately. as I say. So we're looking at cooler than last week. The heat wave is done, but the rain is here pretty much through the Eagles home opener. So it looks as if we will have lovely weather for the Eagles home opener on Thursday. Until then, we will have spots of rain and fog this morning, as well as this spotty rain throughout today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. But we're looking at mid-80s. Like I say, 84 is the high today. So it's going to feel muggy. It's going to be wet. It's going to be warm and not the prettiest weather for sure. Until Thursday, 75 degrees, bright, clear, crisp weather, and clear skies. So it'll feel we'll have a little taste of fall for Thursday. Let's get to our sponsor, which is Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby at Parks Racing. It's Pennsylvania's biggest day of thoroughbred racing, the Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby at Parks Racing, and that's Saturday, September 23rd. Gates open 10 in the morning with a lot of free family fun, live music. This is a great event. Just visit pennhorseracing.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We thank the Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby at Parks Racing for being our big sponsor this morning.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 6:15 as we kick off another week with another Big Take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, the big take this morning, the violation of your rights. In the United States of America, citizens have rights that are protected via the Constitution and its corresponding amendments. These are rights that the government cannot violate. Until now, apparently. On Friday, as we rode off into another weekend, there was a massive bombshell court ruling from the Fifth Circuit finding that the Biden administration, the FBI, and the CDC all violated the First Amendment rights of millions of Americans by bullying tech companies and censoring free speech during the pandemic. According to that ruling, the White House coerced the platforms by way of intimidating messages and threats of adverse consequences. The Biden administration forced social media companies to remove our posts that were critical of the Biden administration or made the Biden White House look bad. Basically, what happened here in this court decision is the following. Biden v. Missouri has been upheld. The government can no longer censor you, no longer flag your posts, no longer dictate social media policies, and no longer communicate with these companies to censor you, and no longer threaten these companies. The White House says it's evaluating its options. This is a major win for the American people who value the marketplace of ideas. And it's only fitting that on a day in which we are remembering the lives lost on 9/11 and the subsequent fight for our freedoms and all that makes America the great nation it is, that we are now talking about how Democrats are hell-bent on stripping you of your constitutionally protected rights. But that's just the free speech element and the First Amendment. It gets worse. In the state of New Mexico this weekend, residents are having their Second Amendment rights, the right to bear arms, stripped away by a lunatic Democratic governor. Michelle Grisham, a Soros-funded governor in New Mexico, has issued a 30-day ban on citizens carrying a firearm legally in her state. This weekend, Grisham issued an emergency order suspending the right to carry a gun in public in Albuquerque and the surrounding county for a month. Now, this left-wing nutjob is doing this after a string of shootings, including the death of an 11-year-old boy outside a minor league baseball stadium this past week. But I want you to listen and watch her explain her rationale to the media and her community and how nobody is buying the legality of this and how she says it probably won't even work. Take a listen.
Yeah. But your point is valid.
You took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carrying license?
With one exception, and that is if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my freedoms. In this emergency, this 11-year-old and all these parents who have lost all these children, they deserve my attention to have the debate about whether or not in an emergency we can create a safer environment. Because what about their constitutional rights? I took an oath to uphold those two. And if we ignore this growing problem without being bold, I've said to every other New Mexican, your rights are subrogated to theirs. And they are not, in my view.
Wait a minute, you're talking about crimes. There are already laws against the crimes, so how are their rights?
But again, if I'm unsafe, who's standing up for that right? If this climate is so out of control, somebody should do something. I'm doing as much as I know to do.
Madam Governor, do you really think that criminals are going to hear this message and not carry a gun in Albuquerque on the streets for 30 days?
No. But here's what I do think. It's a pretty resounding message.
So I'm going to violate your constitutionally protected rights. And oh, by the way, the practice I'm going to put into play probably won't work anyway. That audio and video courtesy of KOB TV4 in Albuquerque. But this is what happens when you vote for and elect woke progressive politicians. They want to strip you of your freedoms, your right to free speech, your right to self-defense, protecting yourself and your family from mentally ill people. And if they can't do it under the guise of an emergency for 30 days, much like the lockdowns and shutdowns during COVID, even if temporary, they'll try to do it more and more for even longer. This is all about power. This is all about control. This is all about reshaping America from what it once was to what the global elites want it to be. A nation no different than China or any other communist nation. And how absurd is this snatching of your guns in New Mexico? How crazy is that? In fact, David Hogue, name might ring a bell, the survivor from the high school in which we saw a shooting with a tragic mass school shooting in Parkland, Florida 5 years ago, says this is way overboard. Hogue, the left-wing gun control activist, tweeted the following, quote, I support gun safety, but there is no such thing as a state public health emergency exception to the United States Constitution. Ted Lieu is a Democrat from California and serves in the U.S. House of Representatives, and he said this on Twitter this weekend, quote, I support gun safety laws. However, this order from the governor of New Mexico violates the U.S. Constitution. No state in the Union can suspend the federal Constitution. There is no such thing as a state public health emergency exception to the U.S. Constitution. Apparently, Michelle Grisham is a tyrant who doesn't understand the basic governmental concept of checks and balances. And this is why Republicans need to get the right candidates. This is why the GOP needs to get the messaging right. This is why conservatives need to ballot harvest, use mail-in voting, and do everything that they have refused to do in the past that Democrats utilize to perfection. Because the alternative not only is losing, but it's losing your First and Second Amendment rights, and maybe even more. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, big take this morning. If you want to jump in, 855-839-1210 is the number. We'll come back, get thoughts and reactions to that. You can also chime in via social media at 1210 WPHT on Twitter and Instagram, or, of course, be a part of the Kayal and Company comment community on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. For the rest of the hour, we'll take some thoughts on both the First and Second Amendment and also dive deeper into the escapee that was last seen in the Phoenixville area as we continue live on a Monday morning. It's Kayal and Company, Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
There are so many terrifying political and economic trends tearing down the global economy. But your retirement does not have to collapse with it. The exclusive crash-proof retirement system guarantees over 5,000 consumers not only survive, but thrive despite market volatility, guaranteeing protected growth that cannot be taken away.
My name is Robert Sims. I live in Levittown, Pennsylvania. The interest credited to my crash-proof retirement system can never be taken from me. With all the debt that the nation has, I am leery of where the economy is going to head long term. I feel good about where I sit with the crash-proof retirement system, regardless of where the economy goes in the next 5 years or so, because it has delivered on its promises.
Join Crash Proof Retirement for a private screening of the groundbreaking documentary, The Baby Boomer Dilemma, at the William Penn Inn on September 12th. Registration is required. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Do you really want to take shots the rest of your life just to lose weight? NJ Diet's typical results are twice as fast as weight loss injections without any of the side effects. Plus, you learn proper portion control. You develop healthy eating habits that last you the rest of your life. By the end of NJ Diet's 40-day program, you will lose 20 to 40 plus pounds, contractually guaranteed. You will lose the weight. You will keep off the weight the natural way. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements. That's going to get your body into the fat-burning zone. Then, NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help keep the weight off. Locations throughout the East Coast are available with live online video consultations. Don't take shots the rest of your life. Lose weight quickly the natural way with NJ Diet. 855-5NJ-DIET, 855-5NJ-DIET, or schedule your consult at njdiet.com. njdiet.com, lose the weight for good.
Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a serious heart condition. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. My HCM impacted how I felt and what I could do. So I asked my cardiologist about treatment advances that gave me new options. That conversation was big for me. Talk to your cardiologist today. You may be glad you did.
John was compensated for his time. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb.
Have you heard all the talk about fresh pet food? Well, at Dogs and Cats Rule, when it comes to fresh, healthy ingredients, we lead the way. Hi, I'm George Parenti, and I'm here to tell you there's nothing better nutrition-wise than fresh food for your pet. Stop in to one of our 7 neighborhood locations and ask our expert staff how a real, fresh, meat-based diet can change your pet's overall health and well-being. Shop online at dogsandcatsrule.pet. Dogs and Cats Rule. Shop small, shop local, shop family.
Hey, this is Mike Quick. If you're in the restaurant, hospitality, or casino business and your point-of-sale system isn't helping you sell more, earn more, or work less, you need to talk to my friends at PDQ Signature Systems. PDQ has everything you need for success. PDQ POS is the fastest, easiest, and most reliable POS system available. Whether you have a single location restaurant or thousands of locations, Joe Flynn and his team will create a custom game plan that will help your business succeed. Visit PDQPOS.com.
Hey, it's Rhea Hughes. Fall is upon us, and now is the perfect time to head over to Lexus of Cherry Hill for the L-Certified Fall Collection Sales Event. It's much nicer than pumpkin spice. They have over 300 new and L-Certified pre-owned Lexus to choose from. Shop great deals and save with special finance rates on L-Certified Lexus vehicles now through October 31st. Stop in and see my friend Tony Labello and his team, or visit online at lexusofcherryhill.com. Lexus of Cherry Hill, family owned and operated.
Short week for the Birds. Home opener is Thursday against the Minnesota Vikings. It looks like the opening line for that right now is 7.5. The Eagles minus 7.5. The NFL season is here. Now is the time to get an incredible offer from FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. You have to hurry because this offer ends on 9/18/23. I love the FanDuel app. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is so easy to use. And you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. Visit FanDuel.com/Greg right now to get in on this offer. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT and is the official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in PA. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. The NFL Sunday ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds, terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required. To watch YouTube TV, redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Here she come now, say money.
Kayal and Company, 6:29 Monday morning. Welcome back in. Hopefully all of you had a great weekend as we start another work week here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. 855-839-1210 is how you climb in on the conversation. We'll get back to Danilo Cavalcanti just in about 5 to 10 minutes from now. Kind of take a look at the timeline of how everything has transpired and then have some discussion as to what exactly is going on here and why this has lasted since August 31st. But I'm sitting there over the weekend, and I'm writing up this big take. Friday, you had the news about Biden v. Missouri and, you know, your right to free speech. When we talk about the First Amendment, I mean, this station, 1210 WPHT, is founded upon your right to free speech. And then on a state level, you have New Mexico stripping away their citizens' right to bear arms, even if you have gone through the proper vetting, the protocol, the paperwork, and the process to possess a firearm. This lunatic governor says, well, you know what? We've had a spike in shootings and violence in this state, so I'm going to violate your rights and say that you can no longer carry a gun for the next 30 days. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this, Dawn and Greg, but I was just thinking about this and trying to localize it and think about it from a hypothetical standpoint. Could you imagine in Philadelphia if our city elected officials said, you know what, there's been a lot of crime lately, more shootings and murders than Dawn typically reports at 6:05 and 7:05. For the next 30 days, law-abiding citizens in Philadelphia, even if you have a permit to carry a weapon, you're not allowed to. You think that would fly in this city? Do you think that would fly in this state? I highly doubt it.
Well, they've tried it. They've tried it repeatedly, but it's against the Commonwealth's Constitution.
I think it's against every level of a constitution.
So, I mean, it does depend on, I think to your point, Nick, it depends on the state constitution, how well it's written, but Pennsylvania's is just more blunt even than the United States Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
It just says the right to bear arms.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's nothing about a militia, nothing. So it's irrefutable. So the nice thing, and as well, what I find interesting is that many in the African-American community in all different neighborhoods, no matter what your ethnicity or your income or any of those other factors, people are in Philadelphia say, no, we have a right. If it's a legal firearm and we do everything properly, we need it more than anybody.
Correct.
To protect ourselves.
Correct. And then you can't protect your family. You can't protect yourself, whether you're getting carjacked or you're going into a Walmart or with your family to go grocery shopping on a Saturday, and all of a sudden some nut job shows up and he wants to, shoot up aisle 3, and you're not going to be able to protect yourself. Beyond outrageous. And then from the First Amendment standpoint, this Fifth Circuit court ruling coming down Friday as we got ready for the weekend, which, I think a lot of us realized that, the Biden, and we've talked about this in many different capacities, the levels to which the Biden administration, the FBI, and the CDC went to silence you and censor you on social media for speaking poorly about the Biden White House, their administration, their policies, and anything COVID pandemic related. It's just outrageous that in this country, when you're granted the First Amendment, that this administration, and this is a Democratic thing in general, the power-hungry nature of that party right now, almost imposing their own will and forcing upon you a certain way of thinking and eliminating many elements of speech and then trying to justify it. And then the audacity of the White House to release a press statement after that ruling was upheld by the Fifth Circuit on Friday saying, we are weighing our options. What options are you weighing? You don't have any options. It's called constitutionally protected free speech. It's the First Amendment. I suggest you read it. I think we all read it at some point in grade school or high school or college or perhaps law school. We're weighing our options. But it just goes to show you the levels to which they went to kind of pressure those social media companies into basically removing any and all criticism of their policies and their administration. So just remarkable considering, we work here at a station that values and grants people their free speech. 855-839-1210. All right, and now the Cavalcanti story. We talked about this a little bit with Dawn's News at 6:05. So if you think about it now, you go back to August 31st, and a couple of highlights, so to speak, over this timeline. So we saw last week the video gets released. My guy is climbing up the wall backwards at the prison like he's Spider-Man. Hands out in front of him up against the wall, feet out behind him up against the wall. He's completely horizontal from left to right across your radio dial. As he works his way up the wall, we then are realizing he is gone for 54 minutes before he's accounted for. Basically on the run for an hour before anybody says, anybody see the Cavalcanti guy?
Well, that story alone has made me rethink, obviously the guard has been fired, but somebody escaped from his custody or whatever a few months ago. It makes me think, and this is just a speculation on my part, but it makes me think that there was something else going on there.
You have to wonder.
Yeah.
Inquiring minds want to know. And then it gets worse. He's boxed in essentially, and I think, Dawn, you reported this on Friday. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just paraphrasing here. He was boxed into about an 8 to 10 mile radius. And then we find out over the weekend he escapes that 8 to 10 mile perimeter via a stolen truck. He runs out of gas, ditches the truck. Somewhere along the way, he's gone from, hairy and with a beard. He shaves. He's clean shaven. People are saying he lost weight. I don't know. Maybe he took the same thing DeSantis is taking. And then you end up where we are now, where he gets out to Phoenixville, which is probably only 20, 25 minutes from where I live in the Bluebell Plymouth meeting area. And I'm seeing all these tweets Sunday morning, last seen here, Phoenixville area, pay attention. And if you've listened to this show, I have respect and huge admiration for police and law enforcement. And policing and law enforcement is not easy, certainly in this day and age over the last 3.5 or 4 years. But it just looks to me at this point like this is an embarrassing moment for law enforcement, really at every level, whether it's locally, statewide, FBI, you name it. And, I don't like to say that, we should have found him. I mean, Eric Frine, the guy up in the Poconos 10 years ago, he was on the run for like 5 weeks in the woods. So these things are not easy. But at this point, and it's still only about 2 weeks in, it does look like it's a big slap in the face to law enforcement right now. Like, how do you allow this guy to break contain? It'd be like yesterday, the Patriots wide receiver was surrounded by 6 Eagles defenders and he got past them all. Yeah. How's that happen?
Well, supposedly Longwood Gardens, because it's been there forever, and they have in that area, think about the Underground Railroad, there are all these underground tunnels. So that's one of the theories, that he knew about one of those or found one of those, and that he was able to travel underneath, for example, Longwood Gardens. Maybe the fact that it was closed down helped him, because more people would have seen him.
That's a good point.
But the dairy farm that he stole, it's Bailey's Dairy, right near Longwood Gardens, and everybody in that area knows that farm. It's one of those where you get a lot of fresh produce, but they have like a little bucket, and it's an honor system. So you buy the eggs, you buy the peaches. So people were saying he probably that's where he's eating.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because they leave the food out,
well,
and
at
then
least he's eating organic and healthy, and
But the fear is that he's looking for another vehicle.
Oh.
Now they admitted they left the keys in the car.
Great.
Sorry, guys.
He stole the milk truck from the dairy farm because the keys were in the ignition. It's like a movie.
Yeah, it's
a gas guzzler. I think it was like on E, so he didn't get very far.
Right.
He ran out of gas.
But still, it's like, well, to that point, I mean, he grew up in Brazil. Like, this is, no conditions that we have here in Pennsylvania are going to be worse than what he's used to in Brazil. He could probably last out there for months, maybe years.
I mean, this is basically a career-hardened criminal. And I was thinking about this last night. You know, I don't know if this is just where we are with, you know, the ineptitude of governmental employees. I don't know if this is a trickle-down effect of the defund the police movement. You know, we always talk about it at a local level in city police departments, but I don't know, from city to state to federal. We certainly have talked about how at this, and I think, Dawn, you had reported this, at this prison facility, understaffing, or that's just kind of a general theme that we have seen across the country in the last couple of years because, well, you're underpaid, you're overworked, and you're not appreciated. Why would you want to work there? And then ultimately, let's talk about the big elephant in the room here, and that is, oh, by the way, when you have an open border policy and you have politicians that don't seal off a border and you allow people like this in the country and then they get out again, I mean, there's so much blame to go around here. I'm not sure really where to start, but it feels like that's the number one thing way at the top at a federal national level.
Yeah, I mean, when he was, so they held the trial and he was convicted. And to your point, well, you know, a lot of neighbors didn't really think about it because the prison's kind of back there. So first of all, a lot of people think, oh, we thought this was, you know, these were like not shoplifters, but like burglars or somebody, nonviolent offenders, right? Nobody knew that they were holding somebody who's a violent, volatile killer who stabbed somebody, more than 3 dozen times. I mean, so that's concerning. And then as well, after the trial, people said, okay, he's wanted in Brazil for a separate murder, at least one other violent crime that we know of. Brazil's prosecutors have been pleading with the U.S., extradite him now. You got your trial. He'll face justice, but take him to, you know, he's there illegally. We want him. We want justice for the victims here in Brazil. And no, we won't do that.
Right.
And so what do we do if we catch him? No, he's got to stay here with the taxpayers.
Well, they've issued the shoot to kill orders. If you see him, you can wipe him out.
Yeah, but there were reports that they had eyes on him at one point, but then the concern was, is that really the guy?
Yeah. Well, and there's a video, I think it was from Philadelphia Crime Update on Twitter, and they had somebody in a SUV shooting a video driving down the road, and to the right you see all the police cars, the lights lit, it's dark, you see the tree line along the side of the road, and there's a cop car probably every 200 to 300 yards down the road, and they show you the perimeter basically of which they thought they had the guy, quote, boxed in. And if that is a snapshot of the way it looks around the entire perimeter, it just makes you wonder how this guy got through the shrubs and past all of these different law enforcement officials that were posted in so many spots. I don't know what the distance apart is, but I mean, he literally must have slipped through somewhere through like basically a crack, because I don't know how he could go unaccounted for with that sort of perimeter with all eyes on deck and all hands on deck.
I'm telling you, this guy grew up in the jungle. Like he's.
But it's a math game, right? It's 1 against 400.
He can dig a hole and put stuff over top of him and live in there for 6 weeks. I'm telling you, this guy has nothing to lose.
Right.
Yeah, but he doesn't look dirty. That's just it. And I know, who was it that just now the symbol that's going around, somebody photoshopped, and he has like that hoodie on, and it has the Eagles logo.
Yeah,
just playing with us now, right? Try to look like Fetterman,
right?
But he doesn't look dirty. He looks very, he's wearing like a white or light colored hoodie. He looks very. To your point, Greg, he should look scuffed up, but he looks like he just showered and shaved,
right?
And he looks really clean, and that's, I mean, clearly to me, he's had help.
Yeah.
He looks better than I do today.
It's true. It's a very good point. For somebody who's lived in outside or wherever in the woods for 12 days now?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is very clean.
I mean, it reminds me of Eric Frine from the Poconos 10 years ago, where at least we knew. Now, I know this guy's a hardened criminal and everything, but the Frine guy up in the Poconos was a self-described survivalist. Like, he knew how to stay on the run and live off the land and do all this other stuff.
That's this guy.
Yeah, I guess so.
It is.
Yeah.
And like, what could be worse than what he has to go back to. It's either going back to jail or death.
Oh, I understand the desperation element.
So he has nothing to lose.
Desperation equals dangerous.
Well, I don't know if I don't think we reported this yesterday. So some of the moms over the weekend were saying that there's a concern because he looks like a child.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 10-year-old relative she's tall, so she's almost 5 feet tall. And I said to her, honey, he's almost as tall as you, because all the kids are talking about it. So they have armed guards around some of the school buses.
Yeah.
Because they're concerned that he's going to try to do something crazy like get on a school bus or pretend because he looks from a distance like a child with a hoodie, baggy jeans, that sort of thing.
Right.
Daniel on the YouTube chat writes 30 federal agents at the Wawa on Route 724 at 3:30 on Sunday. They have no problem tracking down the January 6th folks.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and that's another piece of this. That when he showed up on the one doorbell cam, they knew for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Then they finally put him through facial recognition.
Yeah. Right.
And then realized it was him, but he changed his appearance. And I loved over the weekend that people brought up, look at all the federal resources that have gone toward identifying folks who have never previously been violent offenders, etc., but hunting down people who attended the January 6th rally.
And by the way, these searches are expensive. And they're your tax dollars.
Mm-hmm.
The Eric Frein manhunt cost $12 million. Now we're not at that point yet because we're only about a third of the way as far as the time span of the search. But it's remarkable. I mean, at this point, I'm wondering what happens first. We find Cavalcante or the Eagles play the Vikings on Thursday.
In all seriousness, do you guys think they're going to find him?
Yes. Your time and luck will always run out. Now I don't think he'll be killed. I think he'll be taken alive. But I do think they will eventually catch him.
I think, in truth, now that ICE is involved, because Pennsylvania, I know Philadelphia is a sanctuary city, but essentially Pennsylvania, for the most part, especially with Governor Shapiro, as the governor, this is a sanctuary. This is like New Jersey. This is a sanctuary kind of state or commonwealth. The fact that ICE has now moved in and they're questioning folks in the community and the illegals. Now the pressure is on because it's like, okay, you're not gonna cooperate. You're facing deportation. The fact that they arrested his sister, who they believe helped, is significant because now what they're saying is this is serious, and all of you, you're gonna get deported. You want to go back?
Yep.
And so that threat, in my humble opinion, it's a tough stance.
Yeah.
And probably goes against. It'll be interesting to see how, for example, Governor Shapiro or any of the Democrats in Pennsylvania or in the city of Philadelphia will react to this because we haven't heard anything from them.
Yep.
But to me, this is the way to go and put pressure on a community who, by the way, this is what happened. This is the situation we create when we allow illegal folks because the vast majority are not violent. But this tees them up to become victims of this kind of character within their own community.
I was actually texting with Alejandro Mayorkas over the weekend, and he said, no, there's still not a crisis at the second border. But he said that could change at any moment.
That's good.
So, 855-839-1210. If you would like to jump in on the conversation, 855-839-1210. We'll come back, wrap up the 6 o'clock hour. Interesting weekend for Donald Trump in college football country. We'll explain on the other side. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Fargo, the new virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Terms and conditions apply. Your mobile carrier's availability and message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are partnering again with our Costco members. Purchase a certified 2020, 21, or 22 XC40, XC60, or XC90 and receive an incredible additional discount up to $1,500 off. A discount added to the unbelievably already aggressive pricing at Cherry Hill Volvo. Join us for this special offer. Cherry Hill Volvo and Costco and you, perfect together.
Listen this Saturday as Penn State battles Illinois. Coverage starts at 11:30 a.m. on the home of Penn State football. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. If your child needs support, special tutoring, and custom instruction, METC is here to help. Now's the time to call to Kathy Gannon, METC. Call the Motivational Educational Tutoring Company for over 30 years. METC's tutoring studio, founded by educator Kathy Gannon, has helped people of all ages to grow personally and academically. Call Kathy at 215-493-4200. METC offers motivational SAT prep as well as academic skills and leadership training. 215-493-4200. Now's the time to get assistance. For your child to help them succeed, all you have to do is visit online at METC.com. METC's tutoring studio. Call them today, 215-493-4200, or email Kathy directly, info@METC.com. Remember, 1210 listeners receive a free 1-hour consultation. Take advantage of this opportunity to help your child get one-on-one help. 215-493-4200, 215-493-4200.
The day we all feared. The stock market went down and then kept going.
2008, when the markets lost over 50% of their value. But that was over a decade ago. Today, it's not so painful. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group calls that financial amnesia. When you forget the pain of losing half your savings, and more importantly, ignore the fact that it can happen again. A complimentary consultation from Retire Ready Financial Group can show you where you stand now before the next market pullback. You're much closer to retirement than you were in 2008. Don't let it happen again. Call Jim Cipriotti at 610-894-7415 for a complimentary consultation. That's 610-894-7415 or online at retirereadyfg.com. You can forget where you put your keys, your glasses, or even your car. Don't forget to protect your retirement.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
Let's talk about innovation refunds. Do you know about it? If you're a small business owner and you've had 5 or more full-time W-2 employees for parts of 2020 as well as 2021, you need to learn more about your ERC. That's the Employee Retention Credit eligibility. Just visit innovationrefunds.com. You can always call 1-843-REFUNDS, 1-843-REFUNDS, and talk with a team member of Innovation Refunds. So what business has Innovation Refunds helped? Well, Bill Goodman is one of the owners of Ford & Goodman. This is an accounting firm in Richardson, Texas, okay? And Bill's a CPA. He didn't think his business would qualify until he was able to talk with an innovation refunds specialist. So here's the case of even a CPA like Bill understood how different filings for an ERC claim is from doing regular income taxes. And that's why you need the specialty of innovation refunds. This is their skill set, right? Their skill set. Innovationrefunds.com, 1-843-REFUNDS, and they'll help you determine your eligibility. There is no upfront charge here, so you have nothing to lose. They don't get paid until you get paid. Innovation Refunds does not provide any tax or legal advice. They're going to work with that independent network of tax professionals, and then they'll share the information with them to evaluate and then process your claims. In other words, help you weave and cut through all the bureaucracy. Again, this is their skill set, and they're going to help you. Of course, terms and conditions apply, but get a hold of Innovation Refunds today, 1-843-REFUNDS, innovationrefunds.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Kayal and Company, 6:52. Happy Monday to all of you. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. Loaded cut sheet coming up in just under an hour. Joe Biden says he's got to go to bed. Kamala Harris doing some weird grandma dance at the White House over the weekend. You'll hear from her. Fauci makes the cut sheet as well. And we bid adieu and a farewell to one of Stocker's favorites of the cut sheet on a Monday, the great Chuck Todd.
Ah, yes. He signed off.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
He will be sorely missed throughout the Sunday shows. A lot of good stuff as we continue this weekend. But just wrapping up the hour on a quick story here. I thought it was very interesting, and I watched a lot of football over the weekend, and on Saturday was a big college football day. But where politics and sports collided, Donald Trump and other Republicans were at the Iowa State college football game on Saturday. Ron DeSantis was there as well. And it was so funny because there was all this reaction and fanfare for Trump, whether it's cheers or boos. And then you had DeSantis, and I saw a picture of him on Twitter. DeSantis is sitting in the bleachers at the Iowa State game, and he's wearing and I don't know what the temperature was, but it had to be in the 80s, if not the 90s. And DeSantis is once again wearing those weird vests that he likes to wear over his flannel shirt or his button-up dress shirt. And I guess the running joke now in the pro-Trump, anti-DeSantis camp is that Ron apparently has sizable man boobs. And that's apparently a thing that people are pointing out.
Oh, my
yeah.
God. What are we doing?
It's just wild. And then on the Trump front, there was a video of Trump showing up. And there was many different things that Trump did at the Iowa State game. But one of the bigger pro-Trump Twitter feeds, which is Donaldo Trumpo, apparently is now accused of altering the audio because there are some videos in which Trump was cheered big time. And then there's another video or two that's circulating in which he was booed. And then this guy is being accused of altering the audio on social media, which I found interesting because I saw a variety of videos. Trump showed up at a frat house in Iowa.
Yeah, I saw
and you
that.
have these 35 frat guys going nuts sitting in their frat house.
Yeah.
And then Trump's out grilling burgers at a tailgate.
Yep.
People are loving it. They show him entering the stadium, on the grounds of the stadium, places going nuts. But then when he walks into the stadium, he's booed by a lot of people. So it's kind of like take your choice. People see what they want to see. They hear what they want to hear. Sometimes you can highlight the boos. Other times you can highlight the cheers. But one of the bigger pro-Trump Twitter feeds over the weekend accused of doctoring and manipulating, which I thought was interesting. But still to this day, I'm thinking, and I was thinking about it on Saturday, if Joe Biden showed up at a college game, if Joe showed up at Penn State, Delaware to see his squad, the Fighting Bidens, do you think the place would go nuts for him? My guess is no, but that's just a hunch. All right, 855-839-1210. We got to get out of here. First hour is in the books. We'll come back, kick off hour number 2 next. Dawn has some news. And then also the groundswelling and the movement to block Trump and remove him from the ballot. That's actually a thing in 4 different states. We'll give you the details on the other side. Hour 2, Kayal and Company next.
So many listeners are enjoying beautiful, easy-to-maintain homes thanks to Rhino Shield, and you can too. Dom Giordano here with my good friend, the local owner of Rhino Shield. John, take it away.
John from Rhino Shield here, reminding you that when it comes to painting your home, there is a better way. We all know that traditional paint just doesn't last, and that's why painters only offer a 1-year guarantee. But Rhino Shield is different. Our elastomeric ceramic house paint is warranted for 25 years, so you'll never paint again. Don't spend your money on regular paint that just doesn't last. Invest instead in a product that will protect your home and look beautiful for years to come. Let Rhino Shield show you how you can be done with frequent painting. Call us today at 484-406-5111 for a free consultation. Or find us online at www.myrhinoshield.com.
This is Larry Steinhess of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com
or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Jalen, over here!
Harley, use your hands.
Why do you throw so hard, man? That hurts.
Hurts. Not as much as old Windows hurts your energy bills.
Or it hurts your home value.
Or hurts your wallet by paying too much.
Take it from Hertz and avoid the hurts. Call Window Nation.
And catch this great deal.
Get 50% off every style window, plus pay nothing for 2 full years. It never hurts to have the very best on your team.
Call Window Nation today. 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
Call now!
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals and will share information with them to evaluate and process your claims. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. You can trust Innovation Refunds with your small business's ERC claim because of their SOC 2 Type 1 security compliance. And if you're a tech person, you know that's a big deal. I'm not a tech person, but I did look it up. Without this certification, how can you be sure a company can protect your information? It's not like here on the radio, where all you need to be secure is a sensor button. Check it out. So now you won't know my date of birth is or that my social security number is the password to my bank account is Ty's Cool Password 1. Uh-oh. The button's broken. Luckily, Innovation Refunds is more reliable. Don't wait. Go to innovationrefunds.com. That's innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS to get started. Oh, a notification from my bank. Wait, I didn't buy a boat.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
We're introducing Wendy's newest addition to the morning lineup. Say hello to the Wendy's all-new English muffins. They're here and they're ready for breakfast. Choose between our tasty grilled sausage, a fresh cracked egg and gooey cheese, or that Applewood smoked bacon, fresh cracked egg and gooey cheese. All of that comes sandwiched between a warm English muffin. These English muffins are the perfect way to start the day. All you gotta do is pick one. Grab an English muffin for breakfast this morning. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's breakfast at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Volvo Finance, in concert with Cherry Hill Volvo, is offering lease and cash bonuses up to $2,500. Purchase or lease a new XC40 or XC90 through Volvo Finance and through Cherry Hill Volvo and receive this additional bonus along with the aggressive pricing already posted on our Cherry Hill Volvo website. This is a special offer and it is not to be missed. Volvo Finance and Cherry Hill Volvo and you, a perfect partnership.
Drive in with Kayal and Company mornings 6 till 10. Drive home with Rich Zioli afternoons 3 till 7. Live and local on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Kayal and Company. 7:01. Welcome back in hour number 2 here on a Monday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always free on the Odyssey app. You can watch us on YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210 WPHT. Cut sheet at 7:45. Also still ahead this morning. Nancy Pelosi is not going out quietly. We'll give you those details as we move along this morning. Kerry Lake takes on the NFL over an alternative national anthem, and a former marquee pitcher in Major League Baseball who once threw a perfect game having a big issue with today's woke culture, Bud Light, and Nike all at once. This guy took a flamethrower to all sorts of things that we have talked about recently here on the show. But before we get to all of that, let's get some news as we kick off hour number 2 at 7:03, and for that we give you the great Dawn Stensland.
And good morning on this September 11th, Monday morning. We are sponsored by ShopRite of Drexeline in Drexel Hill. So today, September 11th, marking the 22nd commemoration of the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001, which of course claimed that day 2,973 victims, 18 of whom were from Bucks County. So there are many flag services, memorials, and other events planned throughout Bucks County to commemorate 9/11, as well as throughout the nation, not just Bucks. But I thought that I would remind you, I know we were there 2 years ago in Bucks County to think about how hard hit Bucks County was. There's a Garden of Reflection name reading, which they have every year, and of course the 5K run honoring the victims, the first responders. So we think about them at the they'll be gathering at the Garden of Reflection 9/11 Memorial, which is of course on Woodside Road in Yardley. But many ceremonies. That one will happen this morning, and then we think about this. The ceremonies will center around 8:30 a.m. because we know that the first plane, when that struck, it was 8:32, 8:33 a.m. and then the other one happened shortly after 9 a.m.
Yep.
And we all think about that morning where we were and
I'll
watching
never
that.
forget
Oh,
senior year of high school, I was working in the guidance counselor's office first period. They had CNN on the TV. I remember watching it vividly. It's like branded to your brain.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of the memorial in New York City, have you gone since 9/11 and
Oh,
seen?
yeah.
Okay.
Many times.
I have. I mean, I've been in New York since 9/11, but I've never gone to that. It's something I have to do because as a kid, I actually was. My mom and grandmother took me and my sister, and we were on the top of the World Trade Center looking through those. Remember those like binocular type things you could put like quarters in and look through and zoom out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and I know they'll have a lot of ceremonies today. For me, I was in the CBS 3 newsroom, and I actually was on a day shift that day.
Wow.
That was unusual. So I called my husband. I'm like, something weird's going on. A plane just went in, and then because he worked for NBC 10 at the time, and so we were kind of talking back and forth, and then it was a busy, hectic day, and the networks were covering it. They thought it was a smaller plane at first. Maybe it was an accident. And then I remember being on the phone with Larry, and then the second plane went in.
And you're like, yeah, this is coordinated.
And then we went, oh, my God. It was just like, get off the phone. And that's when everybody knew.
Mm-hmm.
But it was horrible. I don't know if you watched the 60-minute special last night.
I caught the end of it last night when they went over to it after football, and I was watching I think it was the last 5 minutes of it leading up to 8 o'clock. Yeah.
It's hard to believe it's 22 years ago, but you think of, and then for us locally as a local reporter, like that day I was sent to City Hall. They didn't know where the one that ended up in Shanksville, they didn't know where that plane was headed. There was a report that it was headed for Philadelphia.
And what time slot were you normally doing until you went to do mornings for that day?
And so that day I was working a day shift, and I think I would anchor the 5 p.m. news with Yuki.
Yeah.
And that's before I went to switched over to Fox 29 to do the 10 p.m. news. But
Gotcha.
It's just something that I think all of us, we think about that and think about as a news reporter covering all the families who whose loved ones were missing and holding out hope.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we hope our daughter, she just got this job and she was a runner and we're hoping that she ran down the steps and we haven't found her. And as I always think of all the families of people who lost loved ones that day.
I'm consumed with all things 9/11 content-wise, whether they're movies, documentaries, historical look-backs, theories on what happened to the infrastructure. When those things are on, it's hard for me to change the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even recently, within the past week, they identified through DNA evidence more victims positively identified.
Wow.
So a lot of us don't realize as the years go on, they kept all that evidence and they still in laboratories, because most of the people who were in the building that day, they have yet to officially confirm.
Right.
40%.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about 40% of the people that were in that building have not yet officially been identified.
Right.
It's crazy.
You think about the magnitude and power of what happened.
And just to, just to get that closure. By the way, the 5K run every year raises money for the endowment to preserve the local memorial, the Garden of Reflection, and they've raised about $200,000+ for the memorial over the past 22 years. But there's a pre-registration. You can always donate, so they always want us to put that word out as we think about this day and all the first responders who after that day have perished and had cancer because nobody realized what they were breathing in, or maybe they did.
Right.
We've been talking a lot about this manhunt for the escaped killer, drawing international media attention, and hundreds of law enforcement officers. They're still out there. There's activity this morning. In fact, there's another reported sighting, road closures as that perimeter changes. It was about 20 miles away from the initial perimeter in Chester County, Pennsylvania. I don't have word as of right now of school closings. So there were rumblings yesterday that Phoenixville may close its schools. I'm not hearing that right now. So I have a lot of my mom friends out there saying, just text me if something changes. And that's just it. It's a fluid situation.
Yeah, and you can never forecast or predict crazy or what crazy people will do. And obviously this guy is deranged. If he wants to stay on the run, though, and remain at large, it doesn't seem like going to a school would make sense at this point.
This is true.
Just, this
is true. Hope to God that would never. But, every year there's the Kennett Square Annual Mushroom Festival.
I saw you tweet about that.
Because this area, the Brandywine Creek Valley area, is the mushroom capital of the world. So even though we had school closings last week, even though I know there were some events canceled, I had a friend and their first little Girl Scout meeting they canceled a lot of things over the weekend. They did not cancel the Mushroom Festival.
The show must go on.
Yes. So no word if anybody in a hoodie matching the description of this escaped killer was there, but thousands filling the streets of Kennett Square as they were attending the big Mushroom Festival. This year's festivities went through last night through historic State Street, and this still as in the area, you had ICE officers, you have federal officers, you have the state patrol, local law enforcement, and road closure still happening, but people still gathered in the streets and celebrated the annual Mushroom Festival, dressing up, and they wear funny hats and that sort of thing.
You guys have seen the picture of the van that Cavalcanti apparently stole from Bailey's Dairy Farm, correct?
Yes.
I mean, it's a white van. You know what it looks like? And maybe only radio people will know this. It looks like a radio station's like a little sprinter vehicle they use for like the promotions team. Like when they go out and do a remote and a live broadcast and they send one of those ground crew donkeys out there to give out bumper stickers. This van looks just like something a radio station would buy. Sorry.
Radio station. He stole my minivan.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they found the van. He didn't wreck it or anything. It still had the keys in it, and it just ran out of gas. So they did find that on Sunday. Let's get to our Eagles. So we know that Coach Nick Sirianni did express in the postgame some regret over not playing quarterback Jalen Hurts and some of the offensive starters during the preseason. And I think this is a reaction to Detroit, because they're the team where they have said, no, during the preseason we play our guys and we're good to go, and you can't be rusty when you go into the first game. So a lot of, I know, Eagles fans, we tend to focus on a day like this where we're victorious. We won 25-20. We won the game.
Yeah, I can't imagine the mood down the hall this morning.
Right? But you would think we lost. We did not lose. We won, people.
Yeah. I mean, you still went to New England and beat a Bill Belichick team on the road.
Yeah.
It's still an impressive win.
Yeah.
And they covered.
We're fine.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah, just relax.
It was rainy. The ball was slippery.
Right.
Slippery
balls on a Sunday.
That's right. That's all it was.
That's right.
Thursday, our home opener, Minnesota Vikings, September 14th. So a lot of excitement. By the way, the Phils home game today, and it's going to be a great one at 1:05. We play Atlanta, correct?
Yes.
I should know this because my kid's there. So David wore his Jim Thome throwback. We have a Jim Tominator.
That's a 20-year-old throwback
right?
classic from 2003.
So he's feeling pretty cool.
All
right. So we got that going for us, which is nice. All right. We have ShopRite of Drexeline in Drexel Hill. Brand new ShopRite of Drexeline now open in Drexel Hill. This is the supermarket you've been waiting for, with incredible sales, savings, surprise guests, giveaways, so much more. Just go check it out. It's the brand new ShopRite of Drexeline, 5000 State Road in Drexel Hill, now open daily. Thank you, ShopRite of Drexeline in Drexel Hill. As far as the NBC 10 first alert forecast, we're kind of muggy, mid-80s until we hit Wednesday night-ish. That's when the big changes. So foggy, be careful. Some low visibility in some areas today, but a high of 83 today. Tomorrow, much of the same, 85. And we could see afternoon showers or even some T-storms today, tomorrow. Wednesday, still cloudy, humid, 78 degrees. But Thursday's the one to watch, just in time for the Eagles' home opener v. the Minnesota Vikings. Refreshing change, a taste of fall, just a fabulous day. Sunny skies, high of 76 degrees, and that sunny, cool, less humid trend continues for Thursday, Friday, and for Saturday. Sunday will heat up just a little bit to 80 degrees, but we just have to get through Wednesday, and then what a beautiful change starts on Thursday, just in time to feel like football season. I'm Dawn Stensland for Kayal Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. Speaking of the weather and you mentioning the fog, I got to imagine that the visibility or lack thereof, it's going to impact this search to some extent for Cavalcanti. And then also with the weather, too, we were talking last week on the show about how hot it was, how humid it was, that this should wear this individual down. But now, if he stays on the run for another 4 or 5 days, with the weather breaking and starting to feel like fall, I mean, I'm just speculating, but I got to imagine that plays into his favor to some extent.
Well, something you're making me think about, you had said last week, Nick, that heat sensor, because a lot of people are saying, why aren't they catching him just with the chopper and the heat sensor technology?
Right.
But you had mentioned that the heat wave last week, feeling like 103 degrees, and we were up in the upper 90s, that affects that equipment.
Mm-hmm. Which could certainly impact everything that's going on. It's just still staggering. I don't even want to stop talking about this story because it's just so, I don't know if maddening is the right word, because we've seen searches like this that have gone longer than this. I mean, we've seen searches that take 35, 40 days until you eventually find. When they caught the Frine guy up in the Poconos, they caught him in like a hangar at like some like small little airport where, people fly their own purchased small private planes, and they caught him in there. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if, in fact, when they do catch this guy, if they catch him in the most awkward, innocuous spot, like, he's going to be worn down, tired, trying to, because eventually you have to sleep, right? You can't go 11 straight days without sleeping. So that's another question. How's this guy staying rested enough to be alert enough to stay on the run and be 1 or 2 steps ahead of law enforcement at all times? It almost feels like he has to have somebody else in some way, shape, or form tipping him off. But you would think communication-wise, if he's using a device, they might be able to hone in on that as well. So...
Well, you mentioned law enforcement, and I touched on this Friday that back with the Eric Frine case, it was State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens. He was involved in that, and what was that, 9 years ago?
Yeah,
he was demoted after that search.
Okay,
he's the public face of this situation.
Oh, that should make us feel good.
He probably has to think to himself, "Oh, great, they're going to I'm going to be thrown under the bus once again." So to your point, I think they're doing. I mean, I don't know what else they should be doing. It feels to me like they need somebody who has a skill set and an expertise in this, and maybe it should be more of a military operation.
Or call up Dog the Bounty Hunter. Remember him, Dwayne Chapman?
Oh, that's right.
He finds everybody. Get some TV cameras around, be good to go. How about that? I just solved it right there. Fixing all of America's problems, segment by segment. 855-839-1210. Very interesting Donald Trump stuff on the way. The 4 states attempting to knock him off the ballot. And also, it's the sequel you may not like, but it grows more likely by the day. We continue next here on Kayal & Company.
Hun, we need to stop putting off getting life insurance.
I know. It's just been so busy, and I'm sure the cost is out of our budget.
Well, Jen told me that they got a $500,000 term life insurance policy from Ethos for less than $23 a month. All online with no complicated forms and no medical exam. All they had to do was answer a few health questions.
Wait, no medical exam and all online?
I know, right? It's not easy to think about, but if something happened to you, James and I would be...
Okay, I get it. Let's get a quote from Ethos right now. Wow, you were right. There's no medical exam, and Ethos makes the whole online process fast and easy. And look at these rates and coverage options. It's great protection and totally fits our budget.
Ethos. They've removed all the barriers from getting coverage. Go to checkethos.com to get your free online quote. That's checkethos.com. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
Deborah Heart and Lung Center and Cleveland Clinic Heart Vascular and Thoracic Institute have formed a powerful alliance. Legends in caregiving New Jersey families, the most sophisticated heart team in America. Innovators in research and patient care who've made life better for thousands of patients, raising the standard for the next generation of care. The alliance between Deborah Heart and Lung Center and Cleveland Clinic Heart Vascular and Thoracic Institute means the highest quality care close to home for you. DemandDeborah.org.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Just a reminder, as I've been doing for years, about batteries plus bulbs in Mount Laurel and Northfield. My buddy Roy, this guy had the vision of old-fashioned customer service married with technology to build custom battery packs, smartphone repairs, game console repairs. Give him a call. Anything in the technology field, you'll get old-fashioned customer service and great technical skill. Call him at 856-638-0778. Batteries plus bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield stores.
It's that time of year again to consider replacing your old drafty windows and doors before another long, cold winter season rolls in, and the great people at Guida Door and Window will help make your window and door replacement project more affordable with their buy one, get one half off sale. For every door or window you buy, you'll get a second one at 50% off, and you can mix and match the savings to suit your own needs. Buy an entry door, get half off a storm door. Buy a patio door, get 50% off a window. Need to replace all the windows and doors in your house? Well, you save 50% on half your project. The more you need, the more you save. Plus, Guida is making it easier for you to afford your project with no money down and interest-free financing for up to 18 months. Act now. Offers for a limited time only. Restrictions apply. For full details, call Guida today to schedule a free, no-obligation in-home estimate at 1-877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's GUIDA.com.
I'm not even mad that I've never experienced that so-called brotherly love you all brag about here in Philly. I wouldn't expect that being a huge rival and all.
That's football legend and all-time rushing leader Emmitt Smith.
Even though we've been on different sides of the field, I'm still going to extend some kindness to you folks and tell you all about a way to get relief from that awful joint pain without surgery or harmful medications. That's QC Kinetics.
They're the nation's leader in regenerative treatments that go right to the source of your pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back, using your natural healing properties, right in the office, no downtime, to get you the relief you deserve.
See, we're all in this together when it comes to getting relief from that nagging joint pain. I'm glad I can show you some brotherly love, Philly.
Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics. 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at the Sellersville Theater in Sellersville with Paul Wyants and Brendan Donegan. Saturday, November 18th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
The Crash Proof Retirement Show will air before and after Penn State football this Saturday. Tune in at 11 a.m., then again right after the game to learn how to create your own Crash Proof Retirement game plan.
Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
You know, yesterday we had so many events going on, but I knew I had to make something special for the big Eagles game. So I went in the freezer, got out my What's a Crock, ready-to-eat meal, and I looked so good. I got the white bean chili out, put it in the crock pot before we left the house, and when I came back, we got back just in time for kickoff. And the house, we walked in the door, and the house just smelled so good. My husband was like, "Wow, baby, what's that?" I said, "Oh, it's my homemade chili," because I'm taking all the credit. You know, whether it's during the week or the weekend, we're so busy. I'm a working mom. Well, every mom's a working mom, right? But you know what I mean. Outside the home, finding time to just sit down, eat a meal together with my family. It's always a challenge. But for years now, really, I discovered What a Crock's meal in a local farmer's market years ago. And I still use them. So you order it online. You can order a one-time meal. You can order a package for the fall. They have so many great meals, whether it's the chili, the jambalaya, which is so time-consuming to make, is delicious. It's my husband's favorite. So I put a meal in the slow cooker before I leave for work, or like yesterday before game time. And when we come home, that house, it just is filled with the aroma of wonderful spices, good meal, all good to go. No prep, no mess, no stress. And the whole family enjoys the food. The chicken parm meatballs in my slow cooker, it's the best. The meals are seriously so easy. My family finally has time to sit down at dinner and eat together. If you don't have a slow cooker, no problem. And that's just it. They have meals that you can do it your choice. You can do it a quick one in half an hour, or you can do it like I do in the slow cooker. But they make a great gift for anybody who could use some help with dinner. No subscription or commitment is required to order, by the way. Make sure you use promo code WPHT at checkout. You get $10 off your first order at whatacrock.com. And that's code WPHT, $10 off your first order. What a Crock, dinner made easy. Order now at whatacrock.com. I promise you, it's delicious. It's going to make you look good. And I won't tell if you claim you made it. But make sure you tell them Dawn sent you. What a Crock, code WPHT.
Hey, West Berlin, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
It's kind of a crock that we can't find Cavalcanti, right? We'll play on words. Dawn's got me all hungry now. As a man, there's nothing better in the fall than walking into the house when it's a little chilly outside and smelling chili cooking.
See, now I feel guilty.
Like on a football weekend, because you just keep going back to the crock pot every couple of hours for another bowl. It's convenient. It's delicious. It's all we want as a man.
See, I feel guilty. I should have brought you a little, because there were leftovers. That's just it, big portions.
I take leftovers, by the way. I will take them. 855-839-1210. You know, it's funny, I mentioned going to break. You know, maybe we should find Dog the Bounty Hunter to track down Daniel Cavalcanti. And our very own Daniel Valdez immediately found this story and emailed us during the break. I guess great minds think alike, but Philadelphia's own Jesse Waters on Fox News apparently had Dog the Bounty Hunter on his show to figure out how you could catch this escaped international serial killer. I just want to read you this quote here. He was, I guess, on with Jesse Waters on Friday, and they were talking about Daniel Cavalcanti on one of the segments, and apparently Dwayne Chapman, as a.k.a. Dog the Bounty Hunter, said the following, quote, "I would be, of course, using a bloodhound to track him unless it rains. A bloodhound's going to catch him," Chapman declared. Then they can go up to 5 days. I think the record is before they catch him. His size, you know, Charles Manson was 5'2" and hid in mailboxes. This guy's 5 feet tall, so he can hide anywhere. But the bloodhound is going to smell him out. I owned one for 8 years, and they are incredible. My dog never missed anyone. So, you know, I think when we talk about this story and everybody's kind of, you know, talking about it, paying attention to it, then you get an update and, oh, he might be in my area. You start to be on high alert, you know, protecting your family, your house, your kids. But, you know, it's easy to get frustrated with law enforcement when they don't apprehend somebody as quickly as you think they should or as quickly as you would like. But Dog the Bounty Hunter making a great point here, and we've talked about, you know, the physical traits and characteristics of this Cavalcanti guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, Charles Manson was 5'2". This guy is smaller. This guy is 5 feet tall, 120 pounds, and now that he's shaved off his scrappy wannabe beard that he can't grow in to begin with, like you guys were saying earlier this morning, he will probably blend in with what? A 10-year-old? A 12-year-old?
Yeah.
And that's the scary part, because in society, now that he's, you know, cleanly shaved, and oh, by the way, it's still remarkable, and I think, Greg, you pointed this out in the first hour, he looks well kept now, considering he's been on the run as a fugitive for 12 days. He just fits in anywhere right now. I mean, you could literally be driving right past him, walking right past him, and you have legitimately no idea, especially after he's abandoned a vehicle. I mean, this guy could be blending in with society at this very moment, living amongst us, which is a very disturbing trend, which is, you know, again, be careful. But the authorities have said, you know, you have the right to, you know, fire at this guy and kill this guy if you're in danger. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he's taken alive or if law enforcement or a civilian take, which, by the way, would that be a really bad look for the authorities? Like if Joe in Phoenixville shoots and kills this guy or apprehends him, which, oh, by the way, I mean, let's think about it. If you're 6'2", 6'3", 250 pounds and you know he's not armed, I mean, you're probably going to manhandle this little pipsqueak. You got him by about 1.5 feet and 110 pounds.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna take him alive. I think that he's not gonna go quietly.
You think he'll kill himself?
No, I don't. I think he's going to. If they find him, I think it's gonna be a standoff, and it's gonna end with him dying.
Okay. Very interesting.
Which is a great way for this to end.
Sure.
But it should never have gotten to this point. That's the problem.
Chapman, the bounty hunter, went on to say with Jesse Waters on Friday, quote, "I caught hundreds of fugitives in the terrain. Like, you can't use a bloodhound in the city streets, but in the terrain he's in right now, if he's there, that bloodhound will catch him." So, if he's, in these wooded areas like we saw before, great opportunity for a dog to catch him. But, if he's out and about in city limits, so to speak, it would be more difficult. So we'll obviously keep you updated as we continue. If anything develops on this show or Dawn's show, you will certainly get that right here on 1210 WPHT. 855-839-1210. Cut sheet coming up at 7:45, and we'll finally get to the Trump news, barring any updates on Mr. Cavalcanti. We'll do that on the other side. It's Kayal and Company, live here on a Monday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
There's nothing like football season. And this year, fans in Philly can listen to Penn State football free. Catch every Nittany Lions game live with Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Free on the Odyssey app. Every touchdown, every tackle, every win. All right here. To get started, download the Odyssey app today. That's AUDACY. And search for WPHT. Available for Philadelphia listeners only.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Are you concerned about your child struggling in school? Do they need more of a challenge? Now's the time to make the call to Kathy Ganna at New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown. 800-300-0003. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope Academy founder Kathy Ganna, a pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. At New Hope Academy, there's a student-teacher ratio of 2-to-1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call for that no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today, 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy today, 800-300-0003.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. Oh, thank you. What does it say? Beware. If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Make Hatfield a part of your back-to-school routine for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Hatfield makes it easy to create flavorful meals in minutes your whole family will enjoy. With a wide variety of marinated pork, ground pork and sausage, ham and bacon, Hatfield provides delicious back-to-school meal solutions for your family's busy schedule. So before you head for the practice fields or rehearsal, find your flavor with Hatfield. Visit simplyhatfield.com for easy back-to-school recipes and to find a retailer near you.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Use your vehicle less in September. Walk or bike to close destinations and enjoy more time outdoors. When we each share a one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Eagles have a short week this week. They play Thursday night against the Minnesota Vikings. First home game of the season. Spread right now is 7.5. Eagles favored by 7.5. I would take the 7.5 with that. The Eagles minus 7.5. The NFL season is here, and now's the time to get incredible offers from FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. And by the way, I told you to take the Eagles yesterday too. They covered the 4-point spread. Vegas always knows what they're doing, don't they? Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. I love the FanDuel app. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from point spreads to player props and so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/Greg right now and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. But remember, this offer ends 9/18/23, so if you have not done so yet, please sign up right now. FanDuel.com/Greg. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT and is the official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is not withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The NFL Sunday ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds, terms and embargoes apply. $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV based plan required. To watch YouTube TV, redemption requires a Google account, a current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app. Do you want to stand there and hold my hand? Tell me, baby, I know another man.
I'm not sure what's more impressive, the fact that Stalker nailed his Eagles pick against the spread, or the fact that he got through all that legal disclaimer at the end.
Lots of legal disclaimers there. Yeah.
Man.
There's two in this read.
Woo! Stalker 1-0 in the NFL.
But I got to say, the NFL Sunday ticket on YouTube TV is completely worth it.
Yeah, it is.
Just to see all the different games.
Absolutely. Because what are you going to do leading up to the Eagles when they play at 4:30?
For a sports betting person like myself, it's the best way to do it.
That is correct. Yeah. All right, we'll try to track Stalker's Eagles picks throughout the year. He's 1-0. See if he can make you some money. If you like free things like winners in the NFL, well, then you want to listen at 9:20 this morning, our morning mystery movie clip. We have a $50 gift card to Timothy's American Fair Sports and Spirits with locations in Westchester, Lionville, and Wilmington Riverfront. That'll be your morning mystery movie clip prize at 9:20 this morning. And again, a lot like last week, all of last week, and for all of the month of September, your opportunity at 9:50 today. Once again, we'll give you a keyword. You take that keyword, you go to 1210WPHT.com, and you can enter to win a free trip to Walt Disney World.
Amazing.
I mean, think about that. Stalker's making you money for the holidays. You're going to get free food with a $50 gift card, and we're sending you to Disney.
Yeah.
I don't know what else people want. I mean, my God. 855-839-1210 is the number. Cut sheet coming up in about 8 minutes. But a couple of things on the Donald Trump front. And first of all, want to get to this theme, and this is a theme that we have talked about a lot, but I want to kind of compare the theme, the narrative, and what the polls are telling us versus what you will actually see in the election as far as results. The LA Times has an article, Biden versus Trump, the sequel. You may not like it, but it grows more likely by the day. And they say the following in this piece by David Lauder. He says it's hard to ignore just how many Americans would prefer not to face another election between President Biden and former President Trump. But ignoring the unhappiness is exactly what the nation's two major parties seem determined to do. A rematch appears increasingly inevitable. If you watch cable news or read politics-oriented sites, you might not think the concrete is close to set. We're in the silly season of the campaign when voting remains a long way off and political journalists and pundits have time to spin out improbable scenarios and pretend to take them seriously. But don't be fooled. Barring some sudden dramatic event, the die is pretty much cast. And that's been my belief for a while now, that regardless of what happens here with indictments, with drama with Trump, family drama, corruption with Biden, I still do believe at the end of the day, when you have your chance to go vote in the election for 2024, you're either going to be voting for Donald Trump or Joe Biden. I know, Greg, you think both people will not be a part of it, but you don't know exactly who will step in.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. You look at some of these polling numbers, and they point out a few different sources here. In this LA Times article, they say the following. Evidence can be seen in our latest UC Berkeley Institute of Governmental Studies Los Angeles Times poll of California, voters as well in several recent nationwide surveys. On the Republican side, the California poll showed Trump's support has grown over the summer and now stands at 55%, putting him on track to sweep the state's 169-member delegation to the RNC. And then on the Biden side of things, and also nationwide, the picture is much the same. We gave you the poll last week from CNN. Trump getting 52% of support from Republican voters. DeSantis way back at 18%. On the Democratic side, the California numbers show that Biden, with 2/3 of the vote, way ahead of any undecided, which was in second place at 17%. And they also talk about how the other two nominees or potential candidates in Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Marianne Williamson continue to poll substantially behind Joe Biden. This is one of these themes where you keep hearing, as this writer says, different scenarios and different narratives. And we hear this narrative that this country is exhausted and fatigued and doesn't want to see a Biden-Trump rematch. Yet it's interesting when you look at the 2020 election as far as total votes casted. Donald Trump, 74 million. Joe Biden, 81 million. But it makes you wonder if Trump is continuing to grow in support.
Did you have something in your throat there?
Yeah, blueberry. Dan Blueberry from that last segment in the commercial. It's interesting. Think about this. So Trump in 2016 had 62 million votes. In 2020, despite a low approval rating, which I think goes to show you approval ratings sometimes are garbage, he got 74 million votes, up 12 million. And we've seen in polls that every time he gets indicted, his polling numbers go up. So this article, this writer, and any other national pundit or local pundit can sit here and talk about this fatigue narrative. But if Trump went from 62 to 74 million, what do you think he's going to garner in 2024 if, in fact, and when he is the nominee? How many millions of votes? He's been indicted 4 times. He went up 12 million from 62 to 74 million. Is it possible that Donald Trump, and I don't know if he can win the general election and get enough, the Electoral College, but I'm talking raw votes, total number. At this point, if you told me, make a bet, over or under 74 million votes for Donald Trump in 2024, I'm inclined to take the over. And I think with Biden, you're going to see less than the 81 million that he got in 2020.
There's no question about that.
So
that last fact, yes.
So then, are we really looking at a, quote, too close to call election? I'm fascinated by the fact that everything says they're tired of this guy and they're tired of that guy. Yet one guy continues to get stronger seemingly by the day.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, we are told, has no challengers, can't lose. The guy that he beat in 2020 is unelectable, yet he seems to be going down. Trump seems to be going up, which means I think we're on a collision course for potentially many, many long nights in November of 2024. So I wanted to challenge the narrative of this exhausted thing, because if you're truly exhausted, and I guess everybody's different. Some people will be exhausted and say, I'm not going out. I'm not voting this year. Other people will say, I'm exhausted. I'm still going to vote. Other people will say, I'm more motivated than ever to vote. And they can't wait to get to the ballot box and cast their vote. So I thought that was a pretty interesting column from the LA Times.
I think it's all going to come down to independence because it is a, we know the base for Trump is going to come out. We know the base for Biden is going to come out. So it's really going to be an election of which base is more fired up. And right now, all signs point to the Trump base is way more fired up than the Biden base. I think the exhausted part of that is people talking about the majority of the country, which are independents.
Yep. And what could very well sway the independents is the mindset of the independent. Do I want to vote based on, as an independent, exhausted or not, do I want to vote on who made my life better?
Yeah.
My personal bottom line? Well, then that would be Trump. If you're going to vote based on feelings and narratives and uneducated agendas and opinions, then you're going to vote for the other guy. But Stalker, you're saying it could come down to the independents, which I think most people would certainly agree with.
Yeah.
So be interesting to see how that plays out. And then, of course, when we talk about Trump, you're talking about whether or not he will make it to 2024. We know the indictments are piling up. The cases are starting to be scheduled. Whether or not they can actually have these cases go off as scheduled remains to be seen. But now we have an update on where Donald Trump could be kicked off the ballot. Here's a full list of the states that are trying to remove him from the ballot. We are now sitting on Colorado, New Hampshire, Arizona, and Michigan. And you might be wondering, okay, what's this all about? Well, Trump is facing calls to be blocked from running in 2024 over, the January 6th allegations. But these are currently attempts by advocacy groups and individuals to have Trump's name removed because they claim, and I think they have very little legal standing on this claim, that he violated Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which says that a person, quote, who engages in insurrection or rebellion, again, keep in mind, he hasn't been charged with that.
I was just going to say he wasn't charged for any
after
of
taking an oath of office to support the Constitution, should be prevented from running for office again. So all and look, we know these prosecutors, whether it's from Alvin Bragg to every attorney general to anybody that is prosecuting Fani Willis in Atlanta, if they could charge him with it, they certainly would love to, but they can't and they haven't. Yet these morons with these advocacy groups and individuals are actually pulling out their Constitution and their highlighter. Oh, okay, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Yeah, let's try to get him removed from this state. I think it's just a wasted exercise, but it's something that's starting to gain a little momentum and people are discussing it.
I mean, you want to fire up people. Try removing him from the ballot. I mean, this will never happen.
Of course not.
There's zero chance of this happening. But just the fact that they're attempting to do it, I mean, it's just you're making for the people who say, well, it's not political, this, that, and the other. You're making it.
Oh, it becomes so obvious.
It's so obviously political when you say, well, we want to remove him from the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Like just let the people decide.
That's correct.
There's no other way.
We're supposed to do in this country, right? Let the people decide.
Exactly.
We the people.
And I don't understand this whole mindset of let's keep him from doing this and let's keep him from doing that and let's do this and let's do that. Just let the people decide.
It's so petty and so embarrassing.
If they want him, he'll be the next president of the United States. If they don't, he won't.
That's correct.
Like, it doesn't seem to be more straightforward than that.
Trump labeled this attempt as a, quote, trick to prevent him from winning the race next year.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No, he's not. I keep staring at the picture of him taped up on the wall behind you in your studio with that stamp.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
the mugshot.
Yeah. If you're watching right now on YouTube, we have the mugshot. Well, there's a picture behind me of Zioli.
Yes.
And then next to him on the other window is Donald Trump's mugshot, but it has the background of, if you remember the middle school and elementary school pictures, with those weird
cheesy laser lights.
Yeah.
Maybe we should put up the mugshot of Danilo Cavalcanti in the studio as well. He might try to weasel his way in here and gain an internship.
I mean, honestly, if he came in one day posing as Daniel Valdez, would we know the difference?
Probably not. Depends if Valdez shaves his mustache. But you never know. Cavalcanti could be listening to us right now on the radio. One step ahead.
If he's smart, I mean, dude, turn yourself in if you are.
I agree. Or just keep listening and see if you can Help us boost our numbers even more.
Or take a revolver to. Oh, I'm sorry.
Jeez, you calling for an execution?
Well, no, I'm just
no. Off yourself,
just
sir.
do the right thing and
kill yourself.
Turn yourself in.
Exactly.
Or
the alternative.
Or the alternative.
7:47 Monday morning. It's time for What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the Cut Sheet?
What's on the Cut Sheet on this Monday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where Costco members save even more. Purchase a certified 2020, 21, or 2022 XC40, XC60, or XC90 and receive an additional $1,500 off. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo today. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Check them out on Route 70 in Cherry Hill. Boy, we're just giving you all kinds of discounts on this program today. Come on. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Check them out on Route 70 in Cherry Hill. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Okay. A lot of stuff here. I don't even know where to begin. Should I start with Biden and Vietnam, or should I start with the Sunday shows?
Biden in Vietnam? Good morning.
Well, he made that joke. Okay, let's start there. He made that joke, but then said it was a song instead of saying it was a movie.
He doesn't know where he's at.
He has no idea what he's doing. This is how he started his press conference in Hanoi over the weekend. I'm going to start with cut 10, Daniel.
It is easy, isn't it? This around the world in 5 days is interesting. Well, there's that, one of my staff members said, the famous song, Good Morning Vietnam, well, Good Evening Vietnam, and Good Morning back in America.
Wow.
And good night, everybody, as John Fetterman once said. Yeah, I remember Good Morning Vietnam. That singer, Robin Williams, he was fantastic. What a musician. You remember Robin Williams? I had it on 8-track. Jeez almighty. So he's been around the world in 5 days, which is interesting because he works 4-hour days.
Yeah, so I mean, just embarrassing. Like, I mean,
just stop sending him out.
Well, here's another one. If he talks about he did the dog face pony soldier thing, lying dog face pony soldier.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about. By the way, I'm not a huge John Wayne fan, but I'm sure there's tons of people in this audience that are.
Not a fan of the Duke?
I'm just not. It wasn't my era, so I don't.
Hondo.
But I believe this quote that he keeps saying over and over and over again. John Wayne never actually said this.
That's correct.
It's like two different things.
He's been fact-checked on this.
Yeah. But he says now that anybody who denies global warming is a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Okay.
Cut 5.
So my brother loves having those famous lines from movies that he always quotes. And one of them is there's a movie about John Wayne. He's an Indian scout, and they're trying to get, I think it was Apache, one of the great tribes of America, back on the reservation. And he's standing with the Union, so we're all armed. They're on their horses and their saddles, and there's 3 or 4 Indians in headdresses, and the Union soldiers. The Union soldiers basically saying, Indians, come with me, we'll take care of the movie, everything will be good. And the Indian looks at John Wayne and points to the Union soldier and says, he's a lying dog-faced pony soldier. Well, there's a lot of lying dog-faced pony soldiers out there about global warming, but not anymore. All of a sudden, we're realizing it's a problem.
It's a problem.
And there's nothing like seeing the light.
There you go.
You know he's serious when he works the whisper in. He's like your grandfather. He's like Pop-Pop, who tells the same stories all the time. You'd go over and you sit on his lap at Christmas, and Pop-Pop would tell you the same 5 stories for the last 20 years.
And gets them factually wrong.
And then gets them wrong. None of it's true, but it just makes for a good tale. That's our president.
I want to know, in all seriousness, can one of his staff members clean this up and just say...
No, they're not compensated enough for this type of cleanup work.
But what I'm saying is he keeps repeating this. It's not the right quote.
Yep.
Just keep saying it. And by the way, Mr. PC over here, is it PC to say Indians now?
Oh, I know. I was thinking about that. That's kind of offensive, right?
Exactly.
Native Americans around the country are bothered today.
They've created this PC world.
Right.
So is it politically correct to be over in Vietnam talking about Indians?
Well, and we can't have a football team in this country called the Redskins anymore, or a baseball team called the Indians. So we call them the Guardians, and we call them the Commanders, because feelings.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I'm telling you what. No, but you talk about cleanup. I mean, think about that. You imagine having to clean up this mess every time he talks, every time she talks, every time Jean-Pierre walks up to the podium. They don't have enough in the budget for cleanup.
There's so much wrong with that clip and the Good Morning. Like, you're over in Vietnam, and the first thing you think about is some Robin Williams.
How much prep do they have to put in to get him ready when he's giving a speech globally?
But you think of all the men and women who died over in Vietnam for that war. And or have lasting effects from it. And like our dopey president goes over and quotes a dumb movie from the 80s and gets it wrong.
And he thinks he then resonates with the audience. He always tries to fit in, except he never really seems to fit in anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it's not the right message to be sending, but I mean, I guess I shouldn't really be surprised this day and age. Margaret Brennan, let's go to the Sunday shows. Margaret Brennan started off with this statistic on CBS's Face the Nation. Regardless of political affiliation, Americans favor maximum age limits for elected officials. We can get into the Nancy Pelosi thing here for a second. This is that study cut 1, Daniel.
We also surveyed Americans about another big issue in politics these days: age and the ability to serve effectively over the age of 75. More than 3/4 of Americans, no matter what their political affiliation is, favor maximum age limits for elected officials. Just over half say the job of president or senator is too demanding for someone over the age of 75, although more than 1/3 of those surveyed said it depends. Although 68% of Americans say age brings experience, that is outweighed by the approximately 8 in 10 Americans who are concerned that elected officials might be out of touch or unable to do the job past the age of 75.
So what do you guys think about that? A maximum age limit?
Well, again, not all 75-year-olds are created equally. Some 75-year-olds are very sharp. Some 68-year-olds are completely out of touch. So I think it depends on a case-by-case basis, although if you did have to throw in a number, I'm not opposed to 75. But apparently Nancy Pelosi's not opposed to 84, because on Friday she announced that she will seek re-election again. The 83-year-old saying she is running for re-election and respectfully asks for your vote.
I mean,
in 2024.
We know she'll win because it's San Francisco. So it's Pelosi, Feinstein, Mitch McConnell, Biden, Fetterman. I mean, Fetterman is
right. Different category.
He's young, but he's
same category. Yeah, I mean, Feinstein's what, 89 or 90. Pelosi's 83, will be 84. Joe's 81. McConnell is slightly younger than Joe, I think late 70s. And Fetterman's 53, but had a stroke.
These are the people that will be determining our, theoretically, determining our lives.
They impact your life,
yes.
and oh, by the way, you pay for them.
Yep.
And you have no say.
So you don't favor a maximum age limit?
I mean, I think it's hard to just throw in a number because, again, I think everybody is different. But if we had to put a number on it, 75 seems about right. I mean, I might be able to argue slightly younger, maybe 72. But think about this too. Well, yeah, it's discrimination. My pop 72, he's sharp as a tack. Okay, that's great. But he's not running the country, and you're not paying for his salary. But these people, even if they make it to 72, and that was the cutoff, odds are they've been in that office. They have potentially have the possibility of being there for 40-plus years.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, enough's enough. Like, you did your time, get out.
Yep.
The answer is term limits. I think they should focus on term limits rather than age limits.
I love that. Absolutely love it.
This never was intended to be a career, and these individuals who make anywhere if they're state level or Congress, anywhere between at least 130,000
So
up
like
to
180?
yeah, and that's just their base because we
right.
know the perks of the job, the health care, and then they all seem to find a way to get rich
Yeah.
and become millionaires.
They play the stock market really well, don't they?
Yeah, wow, they're really Nancy Pelosi's lucky.
Man, she
a
should
lot of them
open
seem
up
to
a
get
brokerage.
lucky.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You talk about term limits. Well, what will be the term limit then? Because, I mean, why should anybody in Congress or the Senate, let's just say there were term limits, why should they serve longer than the President of the United States? If the President can only serve 2 terms, 8 years,
I agree.
Should a senator be able to do 20 years? 25?
No.
What's the term limit? 8 years as well? 6 years? 12 years? There's got to be some sort of number for a term limit for those people as well.
I agree. It was never meant to be a career. It was meant for all different people of all walks of life to serve. They called it public service, not a career.
By the way, I'm not opposed to term limits in radio. I think we should all be given at least 25 years, and if I can get to 63, that would be great. Just saying.
Chuck Todd started off his final episode of Meet the Press talking about polls that that NBC News has conducted about Biden inspiring confidence in the American people. This is cut 2.
For the Democrats, the issue, of course, is Biden's age. In a CNN poll this week, nearly 7 in 10 Democrats said the party should nominate, quote, a different candidate than Joe Biden. And it was the biggest concern among 49% of all Democrats. The biggest concern was Biden's age. Overall, just 28% of Americans say Biden inspires confidence. That's down 24 points from 2 years ago when he was just 4 months into his presidency.
There you go.
28% of people actually are inspired and get confident from Joe Biden. That is an amazing group. I would love to wine and dine those individuals and just pick their brain. How do you emerge from a Joe Biden presidency feeling good about your future?
I say this all the time with the sample sizes of these polls. You could get 28% of people to say anything.
Right.
Honestly.
All right. It is pretty
Am I
embarrassing.
wrong?
No.
I mean, come on.
No. There's just too, you know what it is? I'm going to make this real simple. There's just too many dumb people on the planet.
Well, that is accurate.
I mean, we need a pandemic that just wipes out dumb people.
Well, if we can have more of those Pocky chips, it might happen.
You talking about the chip challenge?
The chip challenge.
We'll have an update on that a little bit.
Over there on ABC this week, Jonathan Karl was talking about a poll. I think this was the CNN poll that we were talking about last week there, guys. Talking about Bidenomics and how the American people feel about Bidenomics. This is cut 6.
For Democrats this week, a new CNN poll landed with a thud. President Biden's approval rating slipping below 40%. And despite all that talk about Bidenomics, a majority saying Biden's policies have made the economic conditions worse. And then there's this. 2/3 of Democratic-aligned voters say the party should nominate someone else, someone besides Biden, in 2024. This is just the latest indication that a majority of Democrats are looking for an alternative that just doesn't seem to be there.
That just goes to show you how it feels like the Democratic Party incredibly weak and dire straits. Like Joe's your best option. You know he stinks, but you don't have anybody else. It's like, you have a bad starting quarterback, and then you look on the bench and you're like, man, our backup really sucks as well. And then we got that rookie back there, but he's not ready to go in yet. CNN and thud in the same sentence. Very interesting. And just a general thought here on weekend shows. Imagine your life being a weekend show, making that kind of money that they make, and all you do is regurgitate poll numbers once a week. I'm doing something wrong in my life.
Yeah. By the way, we're broadcasting live right now, streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. If you're watching right now, please hit the like button. I want to get to 100 likes. We're at about 78 right now, so please hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button at 1210WPHT on YouTube.
Can I give you an instant feedback real quick?
Please.
Marcus Aurelius says on Twitter, Danilo Cavalcante is trying to get a cell phone so he can call in for the morning mystery movie clip.
Stop.
He's going to need to eat, and he wants the gift card.
I mean, it's the best way to do it. Maybe he wants to go to Disney World too. Can you imagine?
Last seen in Orlando, Florida, wearing a Kayal Company hoodie. Free speech lives here.
Oh, by the way, yes, if you want all the swag, Kayal and Company swag, by the way, ours should be coming any day now so we can debut them on the YouTube chat.
Okay.
But if you want any sort of Kayal and Company swag between the sweatshirt, the T-shirt, the women's shirt, and the coffee mug, it's all available. 1210wpht.com, 1210wpht.com. Click the link. It's up in the right-hand corner. The merch store is available for all of your purchasing needs. Rick Klein was on one of the Sunday morning shows. He's a consultant, and he said on did any of you guys watching any of the football, did any of you guys see the Biden campaign commercials?
No, it's funny. I mentioned that last week that you were going to be inundated with it. I didn't see it once.
I didn't see it once either.
But I watched the Red Zone channel mostly yesterday up until the Eagles game.
Yeah.
So I didn't see really any commercials at all until the Eagles came on.
Dawn, did you see it?
I didn't.
Interesting.
Very good. Maybe did they?
I mean, Pennsylvania is one of the states that they.
Yeah, we gave you that last week.
But they weren't. I think we had Red Zone on too.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching it on. Well, I was over at a neighbor's house, so maybe I wasn't there through all the commercials. But I don't remember seeing it.
I almost had a panic attack with the Red Zone channel yesterday.
Why?
It was 12 o'clock, and it just hit me. I'm like, all right, the games are starting in an hour, and the Eagles don't come on until 4:30. I'm like, do I have to? I'm trying to figure out. I put the Red Zone channel on. It says not available. So then I had to call my provider. I'm like, yeah, does this automatically go on at 1 o'clock, or do I got to reactivate? And I had to do that whole charade. I think millions of American men across the country were doing that yesterday.
Yeah,
around 12:30.
Yeah, it's very interesting too. Plus, like if you were watching on YouTube TV, did you get the same commercials as if you were watching it on, the CBS feed or?
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, talking about it, $25 million the Biden campaign spent, and he said, "You don't spend that kind of money this far out if you're not worried." Cut 12. I'm sorry.
To win next year.
But Rick, the $25 million ad campaign dropped by the Biden campaign. We're 14 months away from the general election, and they're already. I mean, clearly there's concern.
That buys a lot of ice cream, John. And here's the thing: you don't spend that money if you're not worried. And look, the Biden team has said, well, our economic policies are popular. This is basically where previous first-term presidents were polling-wise. All of that is true, but you have inflation, which is still means prices are a lot higher, and you have the X factor that Donna talks about with a much older president. And that Ukraine ad that you showed earlier in the program, that was all about vitality. That was all about showing him out there. Yeah. And the fact that they're spending this kind of money, $20, $30 million, this far away, says that they're a lot more concerned privately, or at least trying to address these issues than they'll ever say publicly. And you hear that from Vice President Harris. You hear from Democrats across the country. They're worried about this. They need to portray him in a different light.
$25 million does buy a lot of ice cream.
Not a joke.
Not a joke. That's very true. But, you don't run an ad or spend $25 million on ads if you're not worried. I would also say you don't spend $25 million on ads if you're not planning on running. There are certainly some people out there that think that Joe is going to step aside and he's going to claim his age, and maybe, the narrative behind the scenes is concern about, him and his son and the criminal enterprise and the whole bit. But did I hear that his economic policies are popular? Did that come out of that guy's mouth? His economic policies are popular?
That's what he said, yeah.
Huh. All right. I must run with a different circle. Very interesting. I like how they slipped that in there.
You guys were talking about Novak Djokovic earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So, forgive me, Nick, because I don't follow tennis at all.
Same here.
But so this was he won the U.S. Open,
yes,
right?
I believe so. Yeah.
And they did one of those instant replays, and it was the Moderna shot of the day.
That's correct.
Is that what they were calling it?
That is correct.
So it was sponsored by Moderna.
Yep.
They did a replay of one of his better serves or whatever you call it.
Yep.
And it was called the Moderna shot of the day.
Yep.
And he's not vaccinated, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure I got all the facts correct.
You've got your facts correct.
This is how that sounded over the weekend. Cut 11.
Oh boy. Well, we'll take you to the Moderna shot of the day, and it was
saving
the match point.
Oh, the
match point to get to number 24. There were a lot of shots that were highly impactful. But here's the final one. Another day at the office. Relief and release there. So the shot of the day brought to you by Moderna.
Yeah, the ultimate irony of all of this, and I don't pay attention to tennis at all, but we have talked about the Novak Djokovic story because he is the best tennis player in the world. And for the last couple of years, he has been unvaccinated during the pandemic and even post-pandemic, and he was barred from entering the United States of America to play in any tennis tournament, any tennis event, because of his own vaccination status. Yet in this country, we allow people from the southern border unvaccinated in our country. But you can't come here and play tennis, even if you are a multi-million-dollar star. And you think, oh, celebrities and stars get all the breaks. This guy was barred. Remember some of the jokes were if he came to Florida, DeSantis was going to like weasel him his way through the country and slip him in?
Yep.
But the irony of this guy, the Moderna shot of the day, going to Novak Djokovic.
I gotta say, as a brand manager, if Moderna had come to us and said, hey, we want to do something, like, that just doesn't sit right with me.
Of course
the
not.
Moderna shot of the day?
Yes.
Like, what branding genius came up with that?
Well, it's just some entry-level clever guy, and of course they'll have people that buy it that are all pro-vaccine. I mean,
I have no...
In this country, too, the pharmaceutical advertising, you don't see that in any other country.
Yeah.
But here.
Well, look, I'm a capitalist. I have no problem with
Same here.
with a company buying advertising. In fact, we thrive on it and putting their message out. People can, if they like it, they can buy it. If they don't, they won't. It's as simple as that. That's the free market. But when you do these specialty things, the Moderna shot of the day, it just sounds icky.
Oh, of course.
And I hate to use that word,
But
right?
the vaccine advertising has just taken off tenfold in the last 12 to 18 months. And I'm not even talking just about COVID. I mean, you see the flu shot vaccine that's out there, RSV. Even in 2022, all of a sudden, as we were kind of, emerging from the pandemic, I'm seeing all these pharmaceutical ads for HIV and things. I'm thinking, like, HIV, and I'm saying this facetiously, but, like, HIV is still a thing?
Yep.
What is this, 1992?
John on the YouTube chat writes, money is always the common denominator. Pharma has a ton of it. I get it.
Yeah, of course.
And I started this off by saying I believe that, they have the right to run whatever ads they want to, and companies can take them or not as they see fit.
Yeah.
There's just something weird to me about the Moderna shot of the day.
Right.
Like, it just seems...
It sounds like something you would actually, speaking of how absurd this is, that you would see something like that in the NFL. Like, you see those big shots, the big hit of the day.
Yep.
Oh, it's time for the Pfizer big shot of the day.
Yeah, there's just something about it that doesn't sit right with me.
Road Warrior on Twitter, we're talking about term limits.
Yeah.
He says Chuck Grassley is 90-ish. I'll take that MFer any day of the week. That's what Road Warrior says.
So he's not for the age,
or at least he's on a case-by-case basis. If you're
well,
not.
I think that's what that poll did say was that people favor it, but they also did. The majority of people said that it should be taken by a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
So, like, if you are a 75-year-old who's, or a 90-year-old who's completely with it, I don't know.
What if you're 85 and you're with it? Don't you just want to go enjoy your life?
Well, no, they're making too much money.
Well, but you've made enough. You're 85. What are you going to do with all of it? Yeah, go watch Archie Bunker or Ben Matlock and just have a cup of coffee and go sit on the beach.
Yeah, I don't, we would never, like, you don't see a lot of 90-year-olds that run companies.
Like, I'm all for hard work, and I work hard, and I take pride in that, but I don't want to work until I'm 90.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I had to work until I was 90 to survive, I don't want to do it.
Well, you're in radio. You're going to have to.
Yes. These people don't need another dollar. You think Nancy Pelosi needs another dollar at 83?
No, she's swindled enough from the American people.
Correct. Just go sit in a lounge chair and just put your feet up for a couple days. Yeah. Take a nap. They're good for you. I can confirm.
Chuck Todd, we played a little bit of it on Friday, but Chuck Todd interviewed Gavin Newsom, and the big question about will he run or won't he run? And he had that. It's like, well, clearly I'm not running because clearly the next person up would be Kamala Harris. Chuck Todd asked him that if another Trump presidency will, quote unquote, break us, cut 4.
You think another 4 years of Donald Trump will break us?
I don't. I hope we don't have to experience that. But I worry about democracy. I worry about the fetishness for autocracy that we're seeing, not just from Trump, but around the world, and notably across this country. I've made the point about DeSantis that I think he's functionally authoritarian. I'm worried more in many respects about Trumpism, what transcends well beyond his term and time and tenure.
You think Trump or DeSantis would be a greater threat to democracy?
I leave that to more objective minds. I'm concerned about democracy fundamentally in this country.
I understand you say for more objective minds. What's in your mind?
Tell
me what's in your mind.
I think the vengeance in Donald Trump's heart right now is more of a threat.
Oh, he's such a smarmy politician. Ugh,
so we've had threat to democracy there. Then they bring up fetish, which is interesting because I feel like the left and Democrats have a fetish for talking about Trump. And then any Democrat to talk about DeSantis being an authoritarian. I mean, did we not live through the pandemic and the authoritarian nature of Democrats and what they've imposed on people? That takes some next level gall right there.
I don't, you can take issue with Chuck Todd asking those questions. I take more issue with the way Gavin Newsom answered them, and not for anything he said. Just
he's very condescending.
He's very
smug,
and he weasels his way out of just say it, pal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like he won't. But
speaking of DeSantis, we've got some tweets.
Yep.
Let's see here. We've got Patchface3, who says the Zioli poster behind Greg looks very similar to DeSantis, awkwardly smiling after he says mustard.
Mustard.
And then we also have Newman Price, who says 25 million buys a lot of mustard.
Mustard.
Do you have the Metallica mustard?
I do. Let me go to my second page.
Mustard. Mustard.
There you go. You got a lot of
mustard. Mustard
for 25 million.
If you want to see what we're talking about, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Anthony Fauci, Tony, was on the Sunday morning shows. He was on ABC this week with Jonathan Karl because he is the only guy who's retired that still comes out and does these interviews all the time.
Of course.
I guess he's trying to clean up his interview that he did last weekend with Michael Smerconish, where he basically said, no, masks don't work. That was the first question that was asked about to Anthony Fauci about what he said, and now he's flip-flopping and says, no, masks really do work. Cut 9 here.
There's a new study out that suggests that masks were actually not effective, at least in a global sense, in containing the pandemic. What is your sense, looking back at all this? Did masks prove to be less effective than you anticipated?
You know, John, some of the studies that are confusing, the study that recently has been now quoted a lot and causing a lot of confusion is this Cochrane study, which even the people who run the Cochrane studies say that study can be misleading because people have commented on that study saying absolutely masks don't work, which is absolutely not the case because there are a number of studies that show that masks actually do work. And there's a lot of confusion when you take a broad a series of studies and you look at them in a meta-analysis. Only a couple of those studies were specifically looking at COVID. So I think we better be careful that study that people keep talking about can be very, very misleading. There's a lot of good data that masks work.
No, it's not confusing. It's just you confuse other people throughout the country when you constantly flip-flop and then have to correct yourself and clarify. And by the way, has there ever been an agency bureaucrat that's gotten more run in a 3-year stretch than this guy? This guy is retired, out of office, and is still making the rounds. And here we are 3.5 years after the onset of the pandemic, and this guy is still given the spotlight anytime he wants it. I don't know who enjoys it more, Fauci or Vivek Ramaswamy. We ought to do a poll question. Who loves FaceTime more?
It's definitely Fauci, by the way.
My goodness.
It's unbelievable to me because there's always studies that debunk other studies, right?
Right.
Well, this study says this. Well, that study says that.
Right.
And he has flip-flopped so many times on this masking. People forget that when he came out first, when the pandemic first started, he said masks don't work. People shouldn't run out and buy masks.
Of course.
And he tried to clean that up by saying, well, it's because we didn't want to run on masks because the
can't overwhelm Walgreens at one shot.
well,
folks.
they didn't want the the medical community to not be able to get them when they needed them. But he has flip-flopped on masks so much that it's wonder people have no idea what the actual science says.
Yeah, and by the way, speaking of, we don't want to overrun the medical community in the hospitals. We've learned our lesson, right? So let's not make the same mistake again. This is the United States of America. This is not a third world slap you-know-what country. Can we be better prepared next time at the hospital level with the medical experts? There should never be a shortage of anything in this country at that extent. Embarrassing.
Talking about Joe Biden and his run-in with COVID, Jill had it, but apparently Joe never got it. About wearing masks indoors, because remember, Biden came out last week and was like, don't tell my staff that I'm not wearing this mask. And also saying that he wears it indoors. Jonathan Karl asked Fauci about that. Cut 13.
The professor at Georgetown University. Dr. Fauci, it's great to have you back on the program. I want to start with that moment with President Biden joking about not wearing a mask. As I understand it, under current CDC guidelines, he should be wearing a mask indoors because obviously close contact with the First Lady. Is it time for those guidelines to be revamped? Are they out of date?
The CDC continually, John, relooks at the kinds of guidelines they put out. So I don't want to get ahead of them and say that they should, change them, but certainly they reevaluate them intermittently to make sure that they're up to date with the current scientific knowledge.
I would argue the CDC should be abolished based on the ruling we got from the Fifth Circuit on Friday in Biden v. Missouri that the CDC, along with the Biden administration and the FBI, violated your First Amendment rights. But that's just one person's opinion.
We played last week Rand Paul on the Senate floor talking about myocarditis in young children or young kids, and whether it's from the vaccine, COVID, whatnot. Fauci addressed that. This is cut 14.
Those that are in high risk categories, but who should be taking that booster?
John, I don't want to get ahead of the ACIP and their recommendation. My own personal feeling is that I believe certainly those who are vulnerable, the elderly and those with underlying condition. But I believe we should give the choice to people who are not in the high-risk groups to have the vaccine available for them. Because, again, we have experience with this type of vaccine in billions of people. It's a safe vaccine. Of course, with the mRNA, there's a very, very, very low risk, particularly in young men, of getting a myocarditis. But if you look at the risk of myocarditis from COVID itself is greater than the risk of the vaccine.
Okay.
And so from my own personal standpoint, I would say that make it available for everyone, but certainly recommended for the high-risk people.
Well, very interesting. Now in September of 2023, Fauci's all about giving you the choice if you're not in the high-risk community. It's up to you. But in 2021, it wasn't up to you, was it? Oh, get vaxxed or lose your job. Interesting how that goes. Who do you think hates Fauci more, DeSantis or Rand Paul?
Rand Paul.
We might need that poll question up, too. Yeah. Rand Paul has a major disdain for Fauci, which I commend. It's kind of his thing, right? Like certain politicians are known for like one little avenue or one little nugget. Like Rand Paul's thing is like Fauci. He's hell-bent on like impaling him.
Well, because I think Rand Paul, being a doctor, understood. He was the one who exposed Fauci because he understands the medical jargon.
I think, and Paul's what, an eye doctor, I believe?
But he's a medical doctor.
Yeah. No.
So I think he understood, and that's, to your point about, term limits and letting other people. It's great to have somebody, right, who has a medical background, who can read into something like that and expose hypocrisy or things that aren't just right.
Yeah. No, you have politicians from all walks of life, medicine, law, business.
By the way, RFK Jr. wrote a really good book on Fauci that was basically exposing him for. It goes all the way back to the AIDS epidemic.
We might need to put we might need to put RFK Jr. in that poll with Paul and DeSantis.
Yeah. Yeah, when you really see some of the stuff that happened during that, that AIDS epidemic in the 80s that he kind of spearheaded.
Yep.
Makes you wonder why he was put in charge of anything.
Right.
Let's all go to our favorite transgender person.
Oh, we have favorites now.
That woman that was on the White House lawn. Remember, that went topless on the White House lawn.
Yes.
That Nick, you and I said may or may not be attractive. We have a new video of her.
Oh, good.
He, whatever, says that you can be straight and still be attracted to trans women because trans women are real women, and saying otherwise is transphobic.
Sure.
So if you're a dude, I guess this would put us in that category, Nick, because when we saw her, we were like, she's go to YouTube.
Yeah,
if you think
there.
we're wrong, go to
Get there.
youtube.com/@1210WPHT and look at the video of this person. Tell me, she looks like a female, right?
We're doing this again.
We are doing this again. Cut 8.
So you're straight and you're really attracted to trans women, but you don't know what to call yourself. Open-minded, not an ass, not a transphobe, a decent human being.
All right, wait, pause it.
All right, we have freeze that.
Pause it right here. Okay.
All right, Valdez, I need a very simple question. Would you?
No. Come on.
Yes or no? 855. Now we got to go back to it there. We lost her. Now we've got Dawn in the middle. We got to put her in box 4. Put her in box 4 and leave her there.
Let's go. Let's start the clip over if we can, guys, by the way.
Yes.
Cut 8 once again.
So you're straight and you're really attracted to trans women, but you don't know what to call yourself. Open-minded, not an ass, not a transphobe, a decent human being, a heterosexual. Trans women are women, so to say otherwise or to try to come up with a new label for your sexuality for being attracted to us would be othering and assuming that we are not real women when we are.
Okay.
All right, freeze it. Let's keep her up there, or we slide her into box 4. She needs to be in there at all times. Yes, the answer is yes. Yes.
What's
1,000%.
What's your yes?
I would date her. I do the whole bit.
No, come on.
If I didn't know.
If you didn't.
Yes, if I didn't know. Of course, knowing, no, I won't.
Can I just is there a surprise in store for somebody who is?
Well, that's where you check out then. If you're
but you know what I mean. Did this person have the
That's a great
below
question.
down under surgery or
they have a giant Dawn? Can you please say? I just don't want to sound sexist. There's
this person has
very well endowed.
Yeah,
top,
like
right?
triple D breast implants.
Daniel, why are you put this one up there?
He's gone old school. That's a throwback. It's like a Jim Tomei jersey that Dawn's son's wearing.
This is not safe. This is not safe. If you have kids, do not let them watch the YouTube video.
Is that
right
the
now.
same person?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Okay. So the person has, the biologically born male,
big breast,
has had breast implants and is in the other interview clearly wearing some kind of a bustier.
Yes.
and a dress.
Because in the last video we just played, she was more.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I really need you to save me here. So why don't you discuss this, Dawn? Because Nick and I sound like
because
degenerates.
the implants in this photo where they were out in front of the White House, they can cover with their hands. So those are maybe, I don't know, B minuses, but they look like double Ds. So maybe either they had another surgery or they're wearing a really good push-up bra.
All right, let me ask you a question. If this person came up to you at a bar, Nick, and you're single, are you like, do you?
And I had no idea.
You had no idea. You would think it's a female, right?
Yes.
Daniel, can you get the other? Can you freeze frame the other clip?
Yeah, can we get a side by side? I want to compare and
played?
contrast. This is remarkable stuff.
This is quite the conversation.
It is. I mean,
There we go.
We've gone from term limits
there
to.
We go. I mean, Dawn, look at that photo right there. There's
No,
clearly
she's had. I mean, you could tell. I mean, you'd be like a lot of work done. The lips look fake.
Yeah, I think this is because this is the more recent video that you're showing.
Yeah.
Wearing sort of a, I don't know, maiden, like she looks like one of those maidens in the for Oktoberfest
Yes.
with the outfit,
Right.
right? With the push-up. But
Yeah.
to me, this individual had another surgery.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
took out the size B
She looks
implants
more-
and put in triple
yeah.
Ds.
She looks more natural on the White House lawn topless.
Sylvia on the YouTube chat says horse face. There is a little horse face.
Yeah, but
there. Dawn,
where
please
do these
edit.
people? Where do these individuals get all this money? I imagine that's expensive to pay for all
TikTok
these
influencers,
surgeries.
man.
Oh, okay.
It pays.
Whoa! Wow, that's her.
Well, that's a phenomenal picture.
I
I could
mean,
do without the tattoo, but I mean, well, but see, here's she's
I'm-
got the nose ring. The nose ring's usually a giveaway.
I'm just telling you that if that person came up to you at a bar, you would not know. You would not know the difference.
The nose ring is traditional TikTok garb.
Oh, man.
That's usually the first sign of a mental health breakdown.
Come on, Dawn, right? I mean, that's a lovely picture of this person.
Yep.
If I had to guess,
Attractive individual.
What would you think her name is if you saw that picture of her?
I
go Penelope.
Cara.
I don't know. You got her as a Cara. All right.
It's touched up in person. I can always tell.
Well, there's another photo. We had another photo of her that went around that she looked like a dude.
Yeah.
But
you never can be too safe these days with technology and filters and photoshops.
Newman Price said the chin is always a giveaway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Cheekbones.
Is that a banana in your pocket, miss?
Have you seen Danilo Cavalcante, ma'am? Do you know his whereabouts?
Oh, the 4-shot right now of this person.
Yeah. Box 4 is always a good one. Now look at it. He's pulling. he's moving her around in the box.
Dancing.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/@1210WPHT.
Yeah, it's like Brad Pitt in the movie Seven. Oh, what's in the box?
Stop.
Sylvia says, so now men have to verify women have a uterus before offering to buy them a drink. It's true, right?
I will just go on record right now. If you're looking at box 4, there's not a man alive today that would not date that woman right there. Not knowing, obviously. And you're gonna be like,
I'm telling you, I am so glad I am not on the dating scene because
be glad you're not.
It's got to be tough.
Psychos everywhere.
It's got to be tough.
Yeah.
you go out there, you're like, hey, how's it going? You go back to my house and and then all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute, I didn't realize. Okay,
you look different on Instagram.
Wendy says it's photoshopped. I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
Everybody wants to get work done. Trying to fight that battle against Mother Nature. Tom Brady's got work done. Everybody gets work done.
Everybody right now is going to, if you're listening or whatever, and they're like, I can't believe you're talking about this.
Yeah.
We have our biggest viewer count that we've had in weeks. So
if you're questioning our strategy, just pipe down. We know we are trained professionals here.
We know exactly what.
Do not try this at home via podcast.
Oofa. The poll question: would you? Come on.
Yeah, come on. It's a simple question.
It should be: would you if you didn't know? Man,
don't worry about it.
What a conversation.
Not a fan of the female tattoo in exposed areas like that, by the way.
Dawn, have we sullied your reputation?
Dawn, you better keep your mouth closed.
I'm
It's
sorry.
not my time. I didn't bring up this topic. I'm throwing you guys under the bus.
I was like, you guys talk about whatever you want. I've got something coming up at 10:05. You a fan of the exposed tattoo on a female stalker?
I'm
guessing you are.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
I am. Looks good.
Yeah, a little bit of work here and there. I don't need like a graffiti artist.
Oh, right now, no is winning in Would You?
Yeah, it's because you already know that she's not legit.
Oh, there we go. Cheating? Because you know it's a male. it's a dude, right?
Right.
Okay.
Are we done with her? We've given her way too much exposure.
Way too much exposure. One more.
Let's talk about Whoopi Goldberg. Is she back on The View, or is she still at home masked up?
Kamala Harris sat down with CBS this morning on, I don't know if it was Thursday or Friday. We played some clips on Friday, so I guess it must have been Thursday. Is the border strategy working? That should have been the answer. This is cut 7, guys.
Do you think the strategy is working, despite the numbers being up? Overall, we are seeing progress, but we're not going to have a constant. There are going to be fluctuations. That is normal, just like the weather fluctuates and circumstances fluctuate, such as elections in those regions and what that might mean. It doesn't mean that we keep our foot off the gas. We have to stay focused and understand there has to be a long-term strategy as well as a short-term strategy. So here's, was it here's too the early to say that the strategy was working when the numbers went down? My point is that focusing on root causes and doing the work that we have been doing to bring U.S. investment into those countries in a way that is supportive of their economies and supportive of fighting corruption actually works.
Supportive of their economy at the expense of your safety and security. That's basically what she just told you there. And how about that, too, the audacity? Well, it fluctuates. Yeah, it's like your weight or the weather. It goes up and down. One day it's 80, then it's 76.
Yeah, her answer there was terrible.
It is.
It was a terrible answer, and she should have known that it was going to be asked of her. But
It just comes off with no regard for what your citizens and constituency cares about. Like, well, we know better than you, and I'll tell you why it is working overall, generally speaking. We done with her?
I think we're done with everything right now.
By the way, did you guys see the video of her dancing on the lawn at the White House over the weekend for some function?
No.
I mean, there's like this viral video of her dancing and everyone's labeling it, and mostly conservatives are crushing her for it, and rightfully so. She's dancing and I don't mean no disrespect to the 80-year-old community. She's dancing like an 85-year-old mom. It's really odd.
Can we get that video and play it when we come back? I would love to see it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it, or we'll make it happen. All right, that'll do it for What's on the Cut Sheet Part 1. Part 2 coming up at 9:35 this morning. 855-839-1210 is how you climb in as we continue Big 3 time, right?
We'll do that when we come back.
We'll get to Dawn's Big 3 on the other side, and then we'll get you that Kamala. So if you're on YouTube and you didn't enjoy enough of the last visual, stick around for this visual.
Man.
As we continue, Kayal and Company back after this.
The NFL season is here. Now is the time to get incredible offers from FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Watched a lot of the action yesterday on the NFL Sunday ticket on YouTube TV. Completely worth the money. So go to FanDuel.com/Greg. FanDuel.com/Greg right now. Place your first $5 bet and you can get $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket. You don't want to miss this, but you have to hurry because the offer ends 9/18/23. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT and is the official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, President PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The NFL Sunday ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and conditions apply. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account. A current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You've heard me talk with you about my friend, board-certified prosthodontist, my dentist, Dr. Robert Bentz of Bentz Dental Group in East Norriton. Dr. Bentz is nationally, locally recognized as one of the area's top prosthodontists. I stopped in to see him, showed me his 3D printer. We've talked about this before, but they have incorporated it so much in their practice. It really helps him expand his patient solutions, specialize in new ways to help you achieve your oral goals, makes it so convenient. We've talked about in one sitting and all the rest of it, some of the stuff he can do. Now more than ever, too. Local dentists, they refer their patients to him for more complex cases. He loves to be a problem solver. Call Dr. Benz at 610-272-6949. Make that appointment today. He's my dentist, my good friend. He's at your service to get your dental health back on track. Call him with any questions or make an appointment. 610-272-6949.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Do you really want to take shots the rest of your life just to lose weight? NJ Diet's typical results are twice as fast as weight loss injections without any of the side effects. Plus, you learn proper portion control. You develop healthy eating habits that last you the rest of your life. By the end of NJ Diet's 40-day program, you will lose 20 to 40 plus pounds, contractually guaranteed. You will lose the weight. You will keep off the weight the natural way. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements. That's going to get your body into the fat-burning zone. Then, NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help keep the weight off. Locations throughout the East Coast are available with live online video consultations. Don't take shots the rest of your life. Lose weight quickly the natural way with NJ Diet. 855-5NJ-DIET, 855-5NJ-DIET, or schedule your consult at njdiet.com. njdiet.com, lose the weight for good.
Howdy, I'm Hank, and I'm a plumbing pro who installs Bradford white water heaters. I've done so many, my buddies call me Hank the Tank. If you want a reliable, efficient, long-lasting water heater that's built to be the best, you want Bradford White, and you can only get one from a pro like me. How you heat your water matters, so make it a Bradford White water heater. Check out BradfordWhite.com and find a pro like me. Take it from Hank the Tank. Choose Bradford White.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I am not exaggerating when I say this. QC Kinetics can actually change your life. You can live again without that chronic joint pain and without drugs or surgery. Dawn Stensland here. QC Kinetics is advanced regenerative medicine, and they take your body's own concentrated healing properties, put them directly into your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue that's causing all that horrible pain. The patient satisfaction reports are astonishing. Finally, a real alternative to the old ways of dealing with pain. And unlike surgery, there's no downtime with QC Kinetics treatments. Get a free consultation from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics today. Imagine this fall moving around pain-free, doing all the things you love again. Just call QC Kinetics, see how the latest advances in precision regenerative medicine can attack your pain and bring you lasting relief. And they're right here in Philadelphia. Call 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000, QC Kinetics. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Paoli. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, mama said the way you move gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove.
Kamala Harris was certainly moving and grooving at the White House this weekend. That video coming up here. Before we get out of here in the 8 o'clock hour, 855-839-1210. It is Kayal and Company live here on a Monday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. You can get us on the free Odyssey app, social media as well at 1210 WPHT. Still ahead this morning, 9:20, our morning mystery movie clip. Another chance to scoop up a $50 gift card to a local establishment. We'll tell you about that in a little bit. Just about an hour and 10 minutes away from our keyword, where at 9:50 we will give you another keyword. You go to 1210WPHT.com, enter that keyword, and you can get a free trip to Walt Disney World. We did it all last week. We will do it all this week and all month long for the month of September. All right, before we get to all of that, let's get to Dawn Stensland for her Big Three at 8:41.
It's the Big 3 at 8 on Kayal and Company.
Sponsored by Best Work Industries for the Blind. We are less than 5 minutes away of the first moment of silence that will take place across the nation and in our area. 8:46 a.m., 22 years ago today, hijackers, those terrorists, crashed American Airlines Flight 11 into the North Tower. In Bucks County, this hits home, of course, as we have said, because 18 individuals from Bucks County were among those killed, 2,973 victims. So we know that President Joe Biden will mark the 22nd commemoration of the September 11th attacks in Alaska instead of the traditional New York City, Virginia, or Pennsylvania events. And we should mention that Vice President Kamala Harris will be the one who will be in New York. Her husband, second gentleman Doug Emhoff, he'll be visiting Shanksville, Pennsylvania for a ceremony honoring the victims of United Flight 93. That's the only one of the 4 planes that did not reach its intended target that day after the famous "Let's Roll" passengers attempting to overpower the hijackers. I want to remind also of a situation, and that is looking back at the situation in Virginia and the governor, Glenn Youngkin of Virginia, yesterday issuing a pardon to a father whose arrest at a school board meeting truly changed America in many ways and teed off a movement across America for parental rights. This is Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin announcing yesterday he pardoned that dad, the plumber, who angrily protested a Loudoun County school's handling of his daughter's sexual assault.
Yep.
So the plumber, Scott Smith, you remember the meeting, and he was arrested and convicted of disorderly conduct. So Governor Youngkin speaking out, saying this was an injustice. His daughter had been sexually assaulted in the bathroom of the school, and no one was doing anything about it. The dad was traumatized by that, speaking out. And I will point out to you, because it's not broadcast enough, that teen suspect who was transferred to another school where he assaulted another girl, that teenage boy was later found guilty on all charges, including forcible sodomy.
Shocking. Go figure. And if you've seen the video, too, the father, when he goes off at that school board meeting, he took a real beating from officers and police when that happened, which, I thought was a little over the top and excessive. We always hear about police, police brutality, and it's an issue when the suspect fits a certain description. I mean, this guy got his what knocked off at that meeting, and I thought it was way over the top. And in a lot of regards, some people just kind of glossed over that thing.
And we should mention that Hershey is the parent company of Paqui, the chip known as the One Chip Challenge. It is now off the shelves. Even Amazon has taken it off after the death of a 14-year-old Massachusetts teenager died. Somebody gave him a chip at school. We are still awaiting autopsy results in that one, but there is the Pennsylvania connection because Paqui is a subsidiary of Pennsylvania's Hershey Company. Bestwork Industries for the Blind, Changing Lives, nonprofit organization located in Cherry Hill. Bestwork Industries for the Blind, providing training, employment for people who are blind or visually impaired. For employment opportunities or to donate, go to bestworkindustries.org. As we are 45 seconds from that first moment of silence, I know many across the nation are marking on this commemoration of September 11th.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. On the chip front, we talked about this last week, and I certainly have an issue with these ridiculous challenges that kids do on TikTok. And you know my thoughts on TikTok. I think TikTok should be banned completely in the United States, with the connection with China and everything. And I know we always kind of round back to when you were young and when we were kids, we did dumb things as well. Certainly, totally valid rebuttal. But removing the chip from circulation over a kid passing away, certainly tragic. Not trying to minimize that. But is that the proper response to take something off the market? If you're a capitalist, and are we going to now we're at the point where we're going to take things out of production, off assembly lines, out of the area of commerce because of some kid who made a stupid decision, or maybe the kid has bad parents or no parents? Is that the right response?
Well, what is
the response, honestly?
No, it's not. But what is the point of this chip? It's just one chip, right, Dawn?
Well, I guess you can get them in a whole bag, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, and I said,
wait, no, I don't think you can get them in a whole bag. Can you?
Oh, no?
Am I wrong on
that? Is it so hot that you can only put one per bag? Well, if that's the case, it's just like any real super hot, I don't know, Carolina Reaper or those other peppers that are out there that are way up the list of that scale of heat. I mean, I don't know.
It's one bag. Yeah.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, it's one chip. Not
my
not a bag.
question on the chip itself would be, what pleasure? And I love hot food. I said before in the past, but like my threshold for cutoff of enjoyment is the habanero.
Yeah.
Anything above the habanero to me is counterproductive. Like, I don't need to be drinking milk for a half hour or eating bread or sweating or puking in a trash can to just say I consumed, the third hottest pepper in the world.
Yeah.
I don't find any pleasure in that, but that's just me. But is that the right response, taking this out of circulation, so to speak? Not sure that it is. But then again, I don't know what the market for that thing would be anyway. Yeah. I mean, some people really want it that bad. Is it a hot seller? No pun intended. I have my doubts. 855-839-1210. All right. We did mention the Kamala Harris video that went viral over the weekend with her dancing at the White House. I know Valdez had it tracked down during the commercial. Valdez, do we have this ready for air on YouTube?
Hang on.
Let's see here. Be interesting if we could break down this video, because a lot of people are saying that it was a very awkward, they're calling it a granny dance that Kamala was doing.
Do you have it, Daniel? All right.
Oh, he's not there. Okay. Good thing I put him on that assignment 13 minutes ago. He had the video in front of him.
It's all good.
All right. So we'll get to that when we can. There's a couple of other things I want to get to, and we've got a lot coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, but we'll get to this one now. A lot of stuff from the weekend where politics and sports collided. You know, we talked earlier in the 7 o'clock hour about Donald Trump at the Iowa State College football game on Saturday, along with Ron DeSantis. Also, Carrie Lake is back in the news. She apparently went off over the NFL's decision to play multiple national anthems at one NFL stadium. We'll get to that. But one that I absolutely love, because this was in my wheelhouse of when I really, really loved the sport of baseball and watched it on a day in and day out, night in, night out basis. In the late 90s, when the Phillies were struggling, the Yankees had started their dynasty. And one of their pitchers was David Wells. Big, burly, fat left-hander, just drinks beer all the time, probably smokes cigarettes. He's a man's man, right? And he once famously tossed a perfect game hungover from drinking the night before.
Great
so
story.
He kind of, you remember that, right?
Of course. It's such a great story.
Kind of became like a folk hero, that's like, iconic status by doing that.
Yeah.
Well, apparently he returned to Yankee Stadium for their annual Old Timers Day on Saturday and did not hold back in a passionate rant against the woke culture of America. He went on to crush woke, Bud Light, and Nike all at once. Returning to Yankee Stadium, he said, quote, "We are in a different world," Wells said, with a piece of medical tape covering the Nike logo on his Yankees jersey.
Oh, that's amazing.
Per The Athletic.
Yeah.
Nike, super left wing, woke, connection to China, the whole bit. All they do is employ athletes that are left wing social activists like LeBron James. He says it sucks. And this is why everyone should carry a gun. So obviously he's not down with New Mexico Governor Michelle Grisham and her 30-day firearm ban, stripping away your Second Amendment rights, which we talked about in the Big Take this morning. Wells said that if he was playing today, he would cut a hole into his jersey and worn it on the field rather than feature the Nike logo across his chest.
Wow.
He says, "I hate Nike. They're woke." Wells, who is now 60 years old, was talking about this as a part of the legendary 1998 Yankees team. Asked if he would ever drink Bud Light again, and I kind of suspected that he might have been an Anheuser-Busch guy back in the day. He looks like the kind of guy that was drinking Budweiser Pounders and smoking Marlboro Reds. And he said, would you ever partner and drink with Bud Light again after the Dylan Mulvaney transgender influence disaster? And his answer was nope. The left-hander who spent 21 years with the Yankees says, quote, "It always seems that the managers and all of the executives and leaders are the ones that are leading all of this, which results in people speaking out and then ultimately getting fired." So you could tell that in today's left-wing insane world that we live in, David Wells is having none of that. He is welcome on Kayal and Company anytime he comes through the Delaware Valley.
That's funny. I had
you remember him, right?
Of course. I had a sneaking suspicion that he was he was of this belief, but it's nice to hear him.
Yeah.
And didn't Keith Olbermann call him out over the weekend?
And then Olbermann tries to attack him,
Yeah.
in which they go back and forth. So Keith Olbermann, who we've talked about before on this show, he's going after Riley Gaines. And anytime there's a political conversation and there's a sports connection, Keith, Olbermann, formerly of MSNBC, feels the need to pipe in and interject, and then ultimately gets crushed. And it's weird. He's got a big following on Twitter, yet when he does these types of stunts, almost overwhelmingly the reaction to him is negative.
Of course.
So one of these guys, again, with like that, you see statistically, numerically has a following, yet when you bring up the name, he doesn't resonate with anybody.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Joe Biden. And then speaking of David Wells, he mentioned the Bud Light debacle. So you might be wondering, and I mentioned this, I think Thursday or Friday of last week, coming out of Labor Day. It'd be interesting to see how Bud Light did coming out of the end of the summer holiday. Well, the numbers are in, and 6 months removed, Bud Light sales still down 30%. This, as I've said in the past on this show, will go down as the single worst marketing debacle decision in the history of American consumerism. I'm not overstating that. The worst marketing decision in the history of an American corporation. There will never be anything worse than this one. Bud Light sales still floundering months after its disastrous partnership with transgender TikTok star Dylan Mulvaney. Quote, you see Bud Light still just stubbornly down around 30% in volume compared to last year, which is where it's been since May or June. That according to Beer Business Daily publisher Harry Schumacher, who told Fox News on Friday, quote, that tells me that this is quasi-permanent, meaning those consumers are just lost forever, end quote. Schumacher's remarks come less than a month after it was revealed that Anheuser-Busch and their company, InBev Beverage, won back 15% of its boycotting drinkers. Bud Light, which lost its top spot to Modelo after the controversy, is down 26.9% in dollars, 30.3% in volume, citing a study from Bump Williams Consulting. So it might be officially time to have the Bud Light funeral.
Yeah, I've never seen in my lifetime. I have never seen a bigger debacle than this was. Like it was a spectacular flame out.
It was. It was a flame out
Crazy.
for the ages.
Yeah.
Worse than Keith Olbermann flaming out of media. So there you go.
Oh, Daniel does have the Kamala video. We should probably do that when we...
Yeah, let's do it on the other side.
On the other side,
All right, we'll kick that off in the 9 o'clock hour. 855-839-1210 is how you climb aboard. And then also, we have a Native American group that wanted the Redskins removal for the Washington football team. We've got new details on that story. And also Carrie Lake, when she's not trying to battle for her election results in Arizona, is battling with the National Football League. So we'll get to those stories as we continue. But first, here's Dawn Stensland with a word for QC Kinetics.
Yeah, and QC Kinetics is truly, it's a game changer. It's a life changer. And I can't even exaggerate on this one. QC Kinetics changes your life so that you can live again, that you can do everything that you love to do without that chronic, aching joint pain, without drugs, without surgery. QC Kinetics is advanced regenerative medicine. They take your body's own concentrated healing properties and put them directly into your joint, which restores and repairs that damaged tissue that's causing all the horrible pain for you. So the patient satisfaction reports are astonishing. Finally, it's a real alternative to the old ways of dealing with pain. And unlike surgery, there is no downtime with QC Kinetics. So if you're suffering in that constant pain, maybe in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, or your back, you need to call. Just get a free consultation from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Do this for yourself and do it today. So imagine this fall. I know that starting Thursday, we're going to see the crisp, clear weather, just beautiful, moving around, pain-free, doing the things you love again, walking, hiking, playing with the grandkids maybe. Just call QC Kinetics. See how the latest advances in precision regenerative medicine can attack your pain and bring you lasting relief. And right now is the best time to get started. They're right here in the Philadelphia region. Just call them 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000, QC Kinetics. Will you just call them? 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Crash-Proof Retirement's consumer protection policies require oversight through video recordings on all consumer meetings, which are then kept on file, proving a full fiduciary responsibility to the highest level. In fact, Crash-Proof Retirement is the only firm in the country that exercises this level of transparency, which delivers peace of mind to the everyday consumer.
I'm Patty Parentozzi from Lansdale, Pennsylvania. The thing that impressed me with the Crash-Proof Retirement system is that all of the meetings that we have are recorded. It's very comforting to know that because everything is videotaped, they have nothing to hide. They're doing this to protect you. They want you to know that what they say they mean.
Find out what your advisor is hiding from you. Invite them to join you for a recorded meeting at Crash Proof Retirement and see if they stand by the promises they made you on camera in our consumer-driven offices. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Escaped prisoner Danilo Cavalcante slipped out of the police perimeter and was spotted about 25 miles north near Phoenixville. There was an aftershock in Morocco Sunday after Friday's earthquake killed more than 2,000 people. And it wasn't pretty, but the Eagles held on to win their season opener against the Patriots 25-20.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. September is Cholesterol Education Month, and it's time to take charge. So how is your cholesterol? For over 38 years, Rescue Natural Supplements has been a trusted partner in cholesterol support. I've relied on Rescue supplements for years. With Rescue, you'll find specific supplements tailored to your needs. Favorites like omega-3s, red yeast rice, and more. Right now, all you have to do is just use the code DROP, D-R-O-P, to double up your order on any cholesterol product for free. Call today at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com, res-q.com. Again, use the code DROP, D-R-O-P, buy one, get a matching Rescue cholesterol product for free. I've personally seen the firsthand benefits of Rescue supplements. They are incredible. Remember, use the code DROP, D-R-O-P, to double up your cholesterol support order for free today.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I have a serious heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. I still had symptoms on my beta blocker, so I asked my cardiologist about any treatment advances. It was a breakthrough for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today. You may be glad you did.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Halloween Nights at Eastern State Penitentiary is now open, select evenings through November 11th. What's going on? It's Bennett. This Halloween festival of epic proportions features 5 thrilling haunted houses, plus historic tours, themed bars, delectable food, live entertainment, and more, all inside the 10-acre abandoned complex of Eastern State Penitentiary. Bigger and better for 2023. This year, you'll encounter even more sinister scares and enchanting entertainment around every shadowy corner. Buying your tickets online is always the cheapest option at HalloweenNights.org.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Kayal and Company, 9:01 as we kick off the fourth and final hour here on a Monday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. You can get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210 WPHT. Big final hour, as always, on the way. Just about 18 minutes out from our morning mystery movie clip. Pretty good movie. You might have seen it. It has something to do with today. There's your hint. Great gift card to give away, $50. We'll tell you about that coming up at 9:20. Also, 9:50 this morning, you've got another chance to secure an opportunity to get a free trip to Walt Disney World all last week, all this week, all September long. Here on Kayal and Company at 9:50, we will give you a keyword, and you take that keyword to 1210WPHT.com and enter it. One entry per day per person, and maybe you can get a free trip to Walt Disney World. This segment brought to you by the Millville Army Airfield Museum. Help honor World War II aviation heritage at Millville Army Airfield in New Jersey. America's first defense airport and gunnery school for P-47 Thunderbolt fighter pilots. Admission is free. Schedule a group tour online at p47millville.org and become a member now. All right. Do we want to go to the YouTube video of Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
All right. Stalker, if you want to make a little plea here for subscribers and likes and gear the audience and steer the traffic, we'll break this down for you and see if the outrage or the mockery, I should say, is appropriate from social media this weekend.
Yeah, just go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're at 160 likes right now. I want to get to 200 likes, so if you're watching right now, please hit the like button. We can watch the video if you want to put it up there. Daniel, do we know where this took place?
This was, I think, on the lawn of right in front of one of the buildings on the property of the White House. All right, so there we go. She's dancing. She's got like pink pants pulled up high like Urkel, which is very interesting.
Was this over the weekend?
This was.
Are we sure about that?
I saw this on Twitter on Sunday.
Okay.
This was either Friday or Saturday. And she's got a very bright, a multitude of colors in her shirt.
Yeah.
And she's moving and grooving, and she's got the hands going. She's shaking her backside a little bit. I got to tell you, when I saw that I think this was late Saturday night or early Sunday morning, I saw this on my timeline pop up. I had major Carlton Uncle Phil vibes from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I'm not sure if you pick up on the same vibe you're getting that I'm getting. What do we think about Kamala's dance moves? I say she's got zero game.
Yeah, JJ says it looks like an SNL skit.
Yeah, is that Maya Rudolph or is that Kamala Harris there dancing?
Yeah, I mean...
Not feeling it?
Look, as somebody who can't dance myself...
Same here.
I have no... I'm not trying to sit here and say, well, I could dance better because I can't. But,
right. No, I've got no grooving ability.
I don't know. If we're being petty, I guess, it's a little... Why is she dancing?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
It's like she's at a class reunion or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
she's dancing like she's at a club, yet it feels like it's more of like the family barbecue. The dance doesn't match the venue, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do we think about the pants?
Yeah.
It's very Stephen Urkel-esque. No, I'm not talking about the color. The elevation of the waist.
That's in now, right?
Is that in?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Dawn, aren't the high pants in now?
I mean, she's a good 4 or 5 inches above her actual waistline.
That's back in style.
I mean, I would argue she's probably at her belly button level.
Well, no, listen to the female on the show, Nick. They're back in style. So.
No, I'm not disputing that they're back in. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
The blouse pattern is a little odd too.
Yeah. Well, she's odd in general.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I mean, look, there's a lot we can criticize her on.
It looks like, was that a Secret Service agent in front of her? Looks like Wesley Snipes, by the way. Is that Wesley Snipes? Look at the guy with the glasses on and the earpiece.
There's a lot we can criticize her on, but I don't know if this is one of them. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to play. It's fun to talk about.
Yeah.
But
All right.
I don't know.
Well, to each his own. Kamala doing her thing. There you have it. All right.
Mango Mush says the shirt looks like a clown exploded.
She looks like a climate activist threw a bunch of paint cans at her shirt. in protest of global warming.
Funny.
So there you go. All right, 855-839-1210. Back to serious stuff. We'll give you the Kerry Lake NFL outrage coming up in just a couple of minutes. But I do want to circle back to our two big stories of the day. One was in the Big Take, and one was in the news at 6:05, and then after the Big Take around 6:30. Danilo Cavalcante still on the loose. And this is one of the most amazing stories if you think about the timeline and the way this is played out. So you go back to August 31st. He escapes from prison. And we see last week, I think it was on Thursday or Friday, the video gets released of his escape. And he climbs up the wall, essentially fully sprawled out. He's got his hands and arms fully extended to brace himself. And then the legs go out like he's Goldmember in Austin Powers. They go out the backside, and he's climbing up the wall. Then once he escapes, he is unaccounted for and on the loose, unbeknownst to security and prison officials, for 54 minutes. As we broke last week, the latest whereabouts and update was that he is somewhere in an 8 to 10 mile radius, and the perimeter was established by local, state, and federal law enforcement officials. They felt like they had him boxed in a shrubbed, wooded, kind of bushy, foresty type area. And then, as Saturday night turns into Sunday morning, we find out that they lost contain on him. He ends up in a stolen truck from a dairy farm, which runs out of gas. He ditches it somewhere along the way, and we don't know when or how or why, but he was able to change. He was able to shave. He is now 5 feet tall, 120 pounds. The beard is gone, so he looks like a sixth grader, a small sixth grader. And my question now is, and I still believe that time and luck will run out for this guy, as it usually does for almost everybody. But it's at the point now where you have to wonder who's dropping the ball and how many people have dropped the ball or multiple balls, because it seems to me like he's clowning people at this point, and this is a bit of an embarrassment. And I'm having flashbacks to 9 years ago in 2014 when Eric Frein, who cowardly shot and killed a state trooper, was on the run, and the manhunt ensued. And I want to say it was somewhere between 35 and 47 days where he was on the loose, and he kept evading law enforcement. And I couldn't understand. And obviously, you know, it's difficult. You've got these wooded areas. You've got so much manpower. He's outnumbered, you know, probably 300 to 1, 400 to 1. But this is hands down. And yesterday, you find out he was in the Phoenixville area. This is the story that everybody's talking about. This is not a local story, a regional story, a national story. As Dawn has said before, this is an international story.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we're at right now, timeline-wise.
Do we know why? Because he stole a truck, and then he went. Do we know why he didn't go farther? Is it because he ran out of gas, Dawn?
Well, he didn't want to contribute to climate change any further.
No, the white van that he stole that had the keys in it.
The refrigerator
the
van.
Farm
yeah.
was Bailey's had the keys in it, but it was low on gas already. So apparently he stole it, drove about 20 miles, made it to the Phoenixville area, ran out of gas. So they found that mid-morning yesterday morning.
But here's the other thing, and again, I have a profound respect, as many people listening to the show know, for law enforcement. But we've got him outnumbered. And yes, you can have criminals that are relatively savvy and smart. Not all criminals are stupid, despite the fact that they commit stupid acts, or they just don't care about, following the law. You would think that the law enforcement officials that we have know the area better than this guy. And I know, Stocker, you mentioned in the first hour about, he's used to the tough conditions, comparing his country to our country. Yep. But sooner or later, he's got to slip up, right? He's going to make the wrong turn. He's going to go the wrong way. He's going to be too loud. Somebody's going to spot him and not relinquish, custody over the guy. Somebody might, incapacitate him, or God willing, and I'll say God willing, kill the guy, because they've been given a shoot to kill order on this guy, because this is not like some low-level drug offender. This is one of the lowest scumbags that you can have. So sooner or later, this creep has to be, facing his judgment.
Is it just because it feels like a long time? But you mentioned, you keep bringing going back to that Eric Fryan case, how long was he on the loose for?
For 25, 30 days longer than this.
So maybe it's not. Maybe this is, we're Monday morning quarterbacking here.
Yeah,
and
that's
just,
what we're doing.
And just say, like, why can't they catch this guy?
Right.
But, like, maybe this is the appropriate amount of time for, not appropriate, but maybe this is the amount of time that it does take to catch somebody like this.
It's totally fair. But I also think, too, I'm wondering if, there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of advantages of social media. I'm wondering if social media is maybe a negative or a con here. Because, we see all these updates and then we post a picture, video surveillance camera footage, picked him up in this neighborhood. And then, you get somebody from Fox 29, like Steve Keeley, who says, well, he was last seen here. And it's almost like, hey, oh no, they're on to me. Time to ditch the van that has license plate ABC 123 on it. And I almost wonder if he's being helped by other individuals with close ties to him.
Well,
I know you mentioned the sister.
I think that's where, an ICE is active in Chester County right now. And so we're hearing that that's the latest strategy, that they've arrested the sister. They have not said whether or not she was helping him, but she has some immigration issues, and many in this community do have immigration issues.
Right.
And so it incentivizes now an entire community, whether they are legal or illegal. And remember, we talked about with this morning, the Mushroom Festival. This is the mushroom capital of the world. A lot of the people who work at the mushroom farms are illegal, legal. A lot of workers are needed here, right? And so in this community, that's what draws a lot of people who want to come and work here. And so for them to shake up the community and threaten with the fact that ICE is here when this has been a Pennsylvania, like Jersey, we're a sanctuary state with a lot of Democrats who are in leadership, and now all of a sudden that's being threatened.
Yeah, I'd like to rebrand sanctuary states as stupid states. That's going to be an official declaration here on Kayal and Company. But you talk about him changing his appearance and cleaning up and getting help. I mean, let's face it. He shaved off the beard. So he had to go to his sisters or any other former coworker or friend or anybody that he has a relationship with, because odds are he didn't walk into a local Supercuts and say, yeah, give me a number 2 on the top and bring
that we know of.
That we know of.
Maybe he did.
Unless he's breaking into houses like he's
well, he is. I mean, he was in
and using some random neighbor's Bic razor.
So we do know that he did break into somebody's house, somebody in Westchester.
Yeah.
He went and stole like apples and peaches and stuff like that from like fresh fruit and stuff from their house.
Yeah.
The story is incredible. Like it was a couple and they had like 2 kids or something, and they heard rustling around downstairs. The man went and checked on his kids, and they were okay. So he went downstairs to like the landing strip area and flicked the lights on, and he flicked the lights back to him and just walked right out of the house.
Hey, buddy, bleep you. I'll be here for another 2 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what's so frightening about this. Like he just doesn't. Apparently, according to the report, they had like a sliding glass door or a French door or something that went out to the patio that didn't lock properly, and that's how he got in. So man. Like
should have went to Dawn's door.
Chapman windows, doors,
there
and
you go.
Mike and Mark Chapman can fix this. That's right. Call them up, have them fix your patio doors.
Has Daniel Cavalcante broken your doors?
Yeah.
Call the Chapman Group.
Yeah, that's
well said.
These people are in Westchester. What a better way to, what a better advertisement saying, hey, we could have fixed that for you cheap, and maybe he wouldn't have been in your house.
So speaking of that family,
but he should not have been in the country. He should have been.
Well, that's
the big issue.
Extradited, especially when convicted.
Correct.
Yeah.
Imagine being like the husband and wife. You're laying in bed, you hear that rustling noise, and the wife says, I hear something, and the husband's like, it's just Buddy Boy down there. He's just, and then you realize you were wrong, and it was Daniel Cavalcante, and he took your peaches.
Well, I mean, like, look, as a man here, Dawn's gonna roll her eyes at this, but as a man here, I feel like we get the short end of the straw because our wives are gonna turn to us and look at me like, you go down and look and see what that is. Be like, I don't want to see what that is.
If that would have happened to Dawn, she would have went down. That way I got this. She would have apprehended
He's
him.
5 feet tall. I would have gone down with the baseball bat.
Dawn would have gone down there with her semi-automatic rifle. They're like, hey, are you stealing my organic fruit?
Stay out of my hot tub.
You little pipsqueak.
Oh, God. 855-839-1210. And then the other big story of the day, and we featured that in the big take, was about your rights, both the First Amendment on a federal level and the Second Amendment playing out in one state. And if you don't know what we're talking about, Friday, the Fifth Circuit Court ruled that Biden v. Missouri would be upheld, which basically says the Biden administration, the FBI, and the CDC violated your First Amendment rights during the pandemic when they bullied and told social media to take down, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, to take down and remove any posts that were deemed critical of the Biden administration or any of their policies during the pandemic. So that is, to some extent, vindication for those who were censored, suppressed, kicked off social media, flagged, had their posts removed. And then probably the one that's more recent that I think is equally as outrageous, which I can never imagine actually playing out here, is the governor of New Mexico, Michelle Grisham, a Democrat, Soros-backed funded Democrat, due to the uptick in crime and violence and guns and shootings in New Mexico, has issued a 30-day emergency that will prohibit law-abiding citizens who have legally gone through the process to purchase a firearm from carrying a firearm in public, which is a direct violation of your Second Amendment rights and the right to bear arms. So egregious that many people on the far left, including, if you guys remember the tragic school shooting in Florida at Parkland 5 years ago, one of the things that came from it, of the many things, was this gun activist, left-wing kid who's now an adult. He's probably 22, 23 now. David Hogue. If you're pro-gun.
Is it Hogue or Hogg?
I think it's spelled H-O-A-G, but I think it's pronounced Hogue.
No, it's H-O-G-G, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's pronounced Hogue.
Oh, okay.
Like hoagie without the E on the end.
Gotcha.
And he has been on Twitter saying, as much as I support gun restrictions and gun blah, 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 this is completely overstepping your bounds as a politician, as an elected official, because there is no such thing as state emergencies that supersede the federal United States government Constitution and your Second Amendment rights. So this is playing out. We gave you a big video and audio clip of it in the big take. You can get that back on the Odyssey app or on YouTube if you would like. 855-839-1210 is the number. Morning mystery movie clip coming up in about 2 or 3 minutes. But I did want to mention this story. Speaking of outlandish and outrageous, Carrie Lake is always making news, which is always interesting. And I always say this, and I think I'm fair about it. She makes a lot of headlines for somebody who's never held office. But Carrie Lake rips the NFL, and I think she's right and justified here, over what transpired on Thursday Night Football. I didn't see this. I didn't hear it. I was at Parks with Zioli for comedy night. But apparently when the Chiefs and Lions kicked off their season opener on Thursday Night Football, they had the multiple national anthems again, which I am in Carrie Lake's camp with. I think this is not uniting. I think this is dividing, because there is only one national anthem in this country, and it's the one we're all used to and accustomed to. But apparently during the pregame ceremonies, a local youth choir group performed a rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing, which is known to some as the Black National Anthem. The song was performed before the Star-Spangled Banner performance, and Carrie Lake went to social media to voice her displeasure. She says the following: I hear the NFL is still trying to force this divisive nonsense down America's throats. I won't stand for it, literally. America has only one national anthem, and that anthem is Color Blind. Lake made her post over a picture of herself sitting during the Black National Anthem at Super Bowl 47 in Glendale, Arizona, earlier this year. Quote, Lift Every Voice and Sing was also played during Super Bowl 55 and at the NFL Draft in April back in 2021. I think it's, once again, another left-wing woke messaging signal from the National Football League that most people are opposed to. There's only one national anthem, and I watched Sunday Night Football last night between the Giants and Cowboys, and I watched the entire broadcast from the beginning, and they only had one national anthem. Queen Latifah sang the national anthem at MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. It was great. It was beautiful. The American flag was on full display, and there was none of this nonsense of multiple national anthems or national anthems for different groups of society. Again, I think I'm in agreement with Kerry Lake. I would not be permitting that. I think it only divides people. And once again, at the end of the day, sports is sports. Keep the social and political stuff out of it. It's entertainment. People don't feel like being agitated when they try to escape from the politics or social stuff they consume on a daily basis for 3 hours of entertainment. So there you go. 855-839-1210, the number, 921. Let's give something away with our morning mystery movie clip.
And now, the morning mystery movie clip on Kayal and Company. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Shauna, what do you got? What do you got, Shauna?
Boston said that, Boston just said they have another hijacked aircraft, United 175.
Copy that. We've got another hijack. We've got 2 hijacks, 175, also out of Boston.
Does Boston, get on with FAA. Who was that?
There's no confirmation, sir.
MCC, we need our planes over Manhattan. We need those Otis birds over Manhattan now.
You got it. All right, weapons. Weapons.
Think you know what it is? Be call at 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
All right, that movie came out 17 years ago. The year 2006. If you can identify that movie clip, you're going to get yourself a $50 gift card to Timothy's American Fare, Sports, and Spirits, with locations in Westchester, Lionville, and Wilmington Riverfront. Caller 12-855-839-1210. See if we have our winner. We'll have our Dawn's Big 3 at 9:30. Part 2 of the cut sheet. It's all still ahead, including our keyword at 9:50 as we continue on Kayal and Company. And I'm continuing to drive my Honda Ridgeline. Why? Well, because it's a great deal. It's a great vehicle. And it's from a great auto group. It's the Piazza Auto Group. They treat you like family. They have treated me tremendously since February. And ever since I got my truck right before Memorial Day, I can't get enough of it. I wish I had all the money in the world. I would just drive it around nonstop. But you know what? I'm on a budget. But you know what? It is the premier truck for those who want all the benefits of a truck, but don't need the massive horsepower. You're not hauling around all sorts of construction equipment or landscaping equipment. And, oh, by the way, it's very economical. I just filled up at Wawa a few days ago. It was like $64. I'm not spending $98 on a tank of gas. Not going to do it. But if you're in the market for a truck, Piazza Honda in Springfield or Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, Reading, all of their locations offering 0.9% APR financing. And I get it. A truck might not be for everybody. You might be an SUV guy. All right. How about the Pilot? What about the CRV, the minivans, the Accords, or the very economical award-winning Honda Civic? The Piazza Auto Group, 17 brands, 35 locations. My go-to for all things automotive. To find your new or certified pre-owned vehicle today, just check them out right now. You're not doing anything else but sitting in the YouTube chat. Just go to piazzaautogroup.com.
2 questions. Do you have a small business? Great. And do you have 5 minutes? Even better. You've got everything you need to start an application for quick, hassle-free financing from Capitus. We've helped more than 50,000 small businesses just like yours get competitive financing and the working capital they need in as little as 1 day. So, don't wait. Skip the red tape and get a decision today. Apply at capitus.com/radio. Go to kapitus.com/radio.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. I'm going to show you my 5 steps for making the perfect radio ad. This one's about innovation refunds and the ERC. First step, be relatable. As a small business owner, I know that filing for the ERC tax refund can feel complicated and confusing. Also, I like pizza and puppies. There, done. Step 2, cold hard info. The ERC, or Employee Retention Credit for long, is a tax credit for eligible businesses that kept employees on payroll in 2020 and 2021. So if you qualify, Innovation Refunds Network of Independent Tax Attorneys could help you claim it. Step 3, call to action. Go to innovationrefunds.com to get started. Step 4, the jingle I wrote myself. Actually, scratch that. Just go to innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS and go to Step 5, legal stuff.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
Yeah, It's a masterpiece.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Escaped prisoner Danilo Cavalcante slipped out of the police perimeter and was spotted about 25 miles north near Phoenixville. There was an aftershock in Morocco Sunday after Friday's earthquake killed more than 2,000 people. And it wasn't pretty, but the Eagles held on to win their season opener against the Patriots 25-20.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
This is Jonathan Cans, third-generation owner of Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning. Are you waking up soaking wet? Don't worry, you didn't wet the bed. It's sweat, which means your air conditioning probably needs service or needs to be replaced. Summer is still here for a few more months. If you want a company who's been servicing some of the same customers for 3 generations, with honest pricing, no gimmicks, and factory-trained technicians, then Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning is for you. Visit us at marvinecans.com. That's marvinekane.com.
Volvo Finance, in concert with Cherry Hill Volvo, is offering lease and cash bonuses up to $2,500. Purchase or lease a new XC40 or XC90 through Volvo Finance and through Cherry Hill Volvo and receive this additional bonus along with the aggressive pricing already posted on our Cherry Hill Volvo website. This is a special offer and it is not to be missed. Volvo Finance and Cherry Hill Volvo and you, a perfect partnership.
Don't miss Borgata's $1.4 million Wild Winnings giveaway. This September and October, you could win a share of $1.4 million in prizes, including one of 2 new Mercedes-Benz SUVs or one of 4 Polaris ATVs. Play to earn entries for 2 grand prize drawings held Saturday, September 30th and October 28th. The Wild Winnings giveaway, only at Borgata. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America N.A.
Like any good agent, we're here for the open house, for the closing, for handing over keys. But because we're realtors, we're here for so much more. Agents who are realtors volunteer at nearly 3 times the national average. We're working to broaden access to credit, increase affordable housing supply, and ensure fair housing for all. And realtors are bound by a code of ethics. We're here for it all. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
You're out of breath. Have a constant dry cough that won't go away. It could be interstitial lung disease. ILD is rare, but it's serious. It can be the fight of your life. And you can't face the fight of your life if you don't know you're in it. Ask your doctor. Find a pulmonologist. Get answers. There's hope. There's help, but don't wait. Go to lungsandyou.com/fight ILD.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Kayal and Company, rolling on live 9:30 here on a Monday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. 855-839-1210 is how you climb in. Dawn's Big Three coming up here in a few moments. What's on the cut sheet part due, and our keyword. That is coming up at 9:50 this morning. But right now, let's see if we have our winner for our morning mystery movie clip. John is in Philadelphia, and we believe he has pegged it. John, what was the movie we played for you just a few moments ago?
Good morning, guys. That was United 93.
That is correct, sir. 2006 9/11 themed movie, and you are the winner. So congratulations, John. You got the $50 gift card to Timothy's.
Thank you.
You are welcome, John, and thank you for listening, and thank you for playing. $50 gift card today to Timothy's American Fare, Sports and Spirits, Locations in Westchester, Lionville, and Wilmington Riverfront. All right. Yeah, United 93. There's a few other movies that are based off of, surrounding 9/11. I've watched all of those. There was also a stretch, too. I think it was right around 2012, 13, and 14. You had Zero Dark 30, which was the movie based on the group that went in and captured and killed Osama bin Laden. Then the next year, I believe, was Lone Survivor, Mark Wahlberg, and 3 other highly trained military personnel that were overseas, and his 3 partners all die. Mark Wahlberg, of course, being the lone survivor, based on a true story.
Marcus Luttrell.
Marcus Luttrell. Yeah. And then Christopher Kyle the next year, an American Sniper, played by Bradley Cooper. All 3 very good movies.
Yeah.
Love them all. So, there you go. All right, 9:32, Monday morning. Let's round back to Dawn Stensland for her Big 3 at 9.
It's the Big 3 at 9 on Kayal and Company.
And Big 3 at 9 this morning, sponsored by the Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby at Parks Racing. So updating for you the manhunt for convicted killer Danilo Cavalcante entering its 12th day today following his escape August 31st from Chester County Prison. He is still considered extremely dangerous. We've been talking about this all morning since 6 o'clock this morning. Pennsylvania State Police were in charge of the search, although some feds are involved, as well as local PD. But they did issue a statement minutes ago asking all residents in the search area and beyond to be vigilant, to watch out for this guy, as he did change his appearance, as we've been talking about, captured on that doorbell camera over the weekend. And that was in East Pikeland Township, right near Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, trying to contact a former coworker, we're told, and he had stolen that white van near Longwood Gardens to make a 25-mile-plus drive. So they believe right now, they're saying he's no longer in the Phoenixville area, but think he's still in Pennsylvania. And his sister, Eleni Cavalcante, his sister was arrested by ICE yesterday and now faces deportation. But we don't know. We don't have the allegation out there that she actually helped him, or is this pressure being put on a community containing illegal residents? We don't have all of those details. There were a lot of questions yesterday as to whether Owen J. Roberts School District in Pottstown would be shut down. It's not shut down, but there's an increased security presence. And the memos, I keep checking all the school districts' websites, and which is what parents have been doing, wondering if their schools will be closed. Pottstown, if you're familiar, about 10 miles north of where the suspect was spotted overnight Saturday into Sunday. So Pottstown is now the focus here, and where the parents were told that all outdoor activities today, including phys ed, gym classes, recess, none of those types of activities, which normally would be outside, they're all inside.
Yeah,
it's a rainy day anyway.
Right,
but
right. I was just out that way playing golf a couple of days ago at Ravensclaw, so I know that area well. PA State Police tweeted, we continue our search for Cavalcante this morning, asking Chester County residents to remain on the lookout and ensure vehicles and homes remain locked.
Don't you, I mean, I don't remember which one of us brought this up in the 6 o'clock hour, but don't you threaten to deport the mother or the sister?
You think at this point he cares if he hears about that threat? Like, oh, you're going to deport my mom? Okay, here I am. Cuff me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm guessing that probably doesn't change his ultimate motive here or agenda.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, apparently, you've had the mom, they've played her screaming. You've taken the sister.
Well, not screaming. She was pleading with him.
Okay. Well, yeah.
In whatever language they speak in Brazil. We said Spanish, but it's not Spanish.
It's Portuguese.
Portuguese. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There you
go. We're coming up, on 9:37 a.m. as we commemorate all morning, of course, September 11th. 9:37 a.m. is when hijackers crashed American Airlines Flight 77 into the Pentagon. And then 9:59 a.m., the South Tower collapsed. At 9:03 this hour, of course, hijackers crashed United Airlines Flight 175 into the South Tower. And the pilot in command, 51-year-old Victor Saraceni, a former Navy fighter pilot who had worked for United Airlines since 1985. Of course, we locally have gotten to know his widow quite well, and she had pushed for legislation that she's still pushing for, as far as making the cockpits safe for all involved, because the cockpit, being infiltrated was a huge problem. So it's called the Saraceni Enhanced Aviation Safety Act. And although new commercial planes do have that barrier, the problem here is that used planes that's still in service, they would not have that.
Did they lock the cockpit back then? Or is that a new phenomenon?
I think that's a newer phenomenon.
From this thing that they did?
Hard to believe that they wouldn't be locked before that, right?
Meaning this bill or whatever you said, like, did it happen because of this legislation, Dawn?
I believe that was a piece of it, that
Gotcha.
they lock it, but also that that it was not easy to break through. In other words, there's a better door and a better lock, because maybe they did lock it, but it was easy to bust through.
How often did you fly post 9/11 in the
A ton.
Let's say the first couple of years? Even to this day, like when I get on a flight, I'm always like, that's always kind of in my head a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's something that you always just, somewhere deep in your mind, anytime you see somebody that's a little unruly, and it feels like lately a lot of people are just jerks on planes.
Mm-hmm.
You just never know, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's so true. I should mention number 3, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and First Lady of Florida Casey DeSantis are there, along with the Veep, Kamala Harris. We've been mentioning that the vice president, this is a bit unusual that the vice president is in New York and those Ground Zero and World Trade Center commemorations this morning, and we're seeing many images of the vice president, but also the Ron DeSantis and Casey DeSantis. They were apparently invited by the September 11th victims' families to attend, and he had said that, of course, that was one of his, like a lot of people in the military, that one of his motivations to join up and sign up was after 9/11.
I think wasn't that Travis Mannion's ultimate
that was.
motive?
Yep.
I saw Ryan Mannion tweeting out that fact as well.
Yeah. And as soon as DeSantis finishes up in New York, I'm sure he'll hit the streets in one of the 5 boroughs, grab a brat from a local vendor, and ask for a little side of
mustard.
Yeah.
Well, we are sponsored this morning by Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby at Parks Racing. It's Pennsylvania's biggest day of thoroughbred racing. The Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby at Parks Racing on Saturday, September 23rd. Gates opening, 10 o'clock in the morning. Free family fun, live music. Just visit PennHorseRacing.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And we thank the Bet Parks, PARX, Pennsylvania Derby at Parks Racing. That's our big 3 at 9.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 9:39 Monday morning. Let's get to Greg Stocker's What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2.
What's on the Cut Sheet?
Part 2. What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2 on this Monday is brought to you by Wawa. It's Sizzly time at Wawa, and you know what that means. All your favorite Sizzlers are just 2 for $5, like their new Pancake Sizzly. Great morning start at Wawa. Wawa, thank you for sponsoring the ever-important What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2 on this Monday edition. I don't know if you guys saw this, but New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been kind of back and forth all over on this migrant situation, because all these migrants are coming to New York. He doesn't know what to do with them all. Because, as we know, New York City, just like Philadelphia, is a sanctuary city. He was asked about this on Our Place's MSNBC over the weekend, where he says, hey, and the reporter says something to the effect of, you're being called out on the right, so they have to clarify it. But about the hypocrisy of being a sanctuary city and then complaining about too many migrants coming into New York. And this was that exchange. I'm going to go with cut 3 here, Daniel.
Because critics on the right have noted that New York City is a sanctuary city, and this migrant crisis comes with that territory. So what do you say to those who think you relinquish your right to complain about the stresses it places on your city because of that?
Well, I think that those comments coming from those far-right Trump-like Republicans who are continue to try to distort the reality that we do not have real immigration reform. that we should allow a true decompression strategy, protect our borders in the right way, and make sure that when you look at this city, the status of right to shelter, no one who created this decades ago took into account that we were talking about hundreds of thousands of people potentially coming to the city.
Come one, come all. Oh, wait a minute, not that many. We are a sanctuary city to a certain extent. Sorry, no vacancies. I love this. By the way, he's also being ripped by a lot of people on the left now for kind of backpedaling.
Yep. Yes.
And I've got a headline. I was going to save it for tomorrow, but I'll give you the headline.
Yeah.
Some of them on the left are calling him the Black Trump of New York because now they view him to be racist. This has nothing to do with racism.
Yeah, come one, come all, except when there's too many of you, and then we can't. It's just amazing. These guys, create these sanctuary cities, and then they have no idea when there's actually a crisis.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we didn't mean this many.
Yeah,
Sanctuary to an extent.
It reminds me of back in the day when I was in a sophomore in college. My sister had a boyfriend who would eat over from time to time. And my mom, she was like the kind of mom that wants to cook and feed everybody, right?
Sure.
So she's like, yeah, come on over, eat whatever you want. And one day he came over, and she used to get these turkey pinwheel wraps from Sam's Club. They have like roasted red pepper, turkey, a cheese, and like lettuce, and like a little wrap. There was like 12 of them. Now, you know the rule when you're a guest in somebody's house. You don't eat the last one of anything, right? Like, you can't do that. He ate all 12 of them.
What?
And she regretted it. She was like, Mike, I said you could have what you want to eat, but to a certain extent.
Oh.
It's like Eric Adams.
He ate he ate all of them?
He did.
Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, me and him had a conversation.
Yeah, I bet you did. Alejandro Mayorkas was on CNN this morning talking about the border crisis that we don't call a crisis. He says that we have responded with a model approach that has proven to work.
Had to say last week.
Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to.
Mayor Eric Adams again.
I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City.
Thank God we're sanctuary city.
Destroy New York City.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Mr. Secretary, the mayor has somewhat clarified his comments, but not walked them back by any means. What's your response to those comments?
I would say the following. First and foremost, we're dealing with a broken immigration system, a fact about which everyone agrees. It is one of the rare things about which there's unanimity of views. And we need Congress to act, number one. Number two, within that broken immigration system, we are challenged by an unprecedented level of displacement in the Western Hemisphere of historic proportions. We have responded with a model approach that has proven to work, which is to build lawful pathways for individuals to arrive in a safe and orderly way and to deliver consequences for those who don't meet them.
You know, if Eric Adams had any brains or stones as he's sitting there saying how ridiculous this is, he would just utter the numbers at the border security protection under the Trump administration and compare him to the Biden administration. And since he's a Democrat and they're, quote, on the same team, I would just be like, hey, Joe, why don't you help me out here a little bit? And well, you don't have to be political about it. We can just be like boys. Yeah. We take care of this for me. All right, that'll do it. 9:45, what's on the cut sheet part due. What's on tap for the Dawn Show and who on Twitter today? You're going to find out next.
And the...
Huh?
And the keyword.
Oh, the keyword.
To win the Disney tickets.
I forget the keyword. Biggest thing we're doing all day today.
I need to get this part of your teasing.
I know.
Anyway.
So we'll do the Disney keyword, free vacation, $9.50. That's coming up as well. We're back after this here on Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210.
Life can get hectic. It's time to retreat from the noise. Take a breath. Visit Malvern Retreat House, the nation's oldest and largest Catholic retreat house, located on a stunning campus in Chester County. Surround yourself in God's beauty while you step back, reflect, and recharge. Malvern Retreat House hosts men and women's retreats, plus couples retreats, spiritual direction, recovery retreats, and more. For retreat information and schedules, go to malvernretreat.com. Retreat from the noise. Hear God's voice.
There's nothing quite like local. Local is your weekly farmer's market or homemade strawberry ice cream. It's live music on the corner, yoga in the park, and a chance to try something new. That's why AARP is local. Here to offer free events and enriching experiences that can help with finances, family, and fun. We're here in the community, connecting you to what matters most, right when you need it. Find events that interest you at aarp.org/local.
Exergen thermometers are the #1 choice of medical professionals at top-ranked hospitals. Accuracy matters. Available at Walmart and Walgreens. Learn more at exergen.com.
Hi, it's Rich Zioli. I'm joined here today by my friend, the co-president and CEO of Cooper University Healthcare, the one and only Dr. Anthony Mazzarelli. Dr. Maz and I are here to tell you about our buddy, Dr. Mike Venaria. Not only is he my dentist, he's my family's dentist as well. And not sure if you knew this, he's Dr. Maz's dentist too.
That's right, Rich. Dr. Mike Venaria is and has been my dentist also. And, doctors choosing doctors, that can be quite a selective process. And not only do I go to him, but for years, my sister and my niece and my nephew, the whole family goes.
Well, it's no secret. We're all delighted by the care that Dr. Mike Venaria and his award-winning team provide, and you need to check him out.
Whether you're looking for pediatric, general, cosmetic, implant dentistry, you don't need to look any further. Dr. Venaria's office does everything. Dr. Venaria's office also exceeds all CDC guidelines and has always maintained the strictest infection control, like their centralized UV sterilization of airflow, which is incredibly important to me.
Locations are right over the bridge in Cinnaminson and Woodbury. Your perfect smile's waiting. Call 856-786-2020 or visit venariadental.com.
Day we all feared. The stock market went down and then kept going.
2008, when the markets lost over 50% of their value. But that was over a decade ago. Today, it's not so painful. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group calls that financial amnesia. When you forget the pain of losing half your savings, and more importantly, ignore the fact that it can happen again. A complimentary consultation from Retire Ready Financial Group can show you where you stand now before the next market pullback. You're much closer to retirement than you were in 2008. Don't let it happen again. Call Jim Cipriotti at 610-894-7415 for a complimentary consultation. That's 610-894-7415 or online at retirereadyfg.com. You can forget where you put your keys, your glasses, or even your car. Don't forget to protect your retirement.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at the Miller Center in Reading on Wednesday, October 18th, and at Springfield High School in Delaware County, Saturday, November 11th.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
I loved it.
All his voices are fabulous, and the fact that he sings.
I couldn't imagine how good it would be with the orchestra. Awesome show.
I've never laughed so much. My cheeks hurt. I'm like, yeah.
That's Conklin and City Rhythm at the Miller Center in Reading and at Springfield High School in Delco. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Your busy life is about to collide with your love of Eagles football. With the free Odyssey app, you can jump back and listen to the moments that matter, even if you missed it live. Hear Marks and Reese break down the offense, or listen to Nick Sirianni's interview with the 94 WIP Morning Show.
Yeah, I've been in a game where we scored a touchdown, and I'm fist pumping with the fans. I don't think I've done that since I played college football.
Stay close to the Eagles wherever you are this season. Download the free Odyssey app today. AUDACY.
Innovation Refunds has been asking small business owners to see if they might be eligible for a big payroll tax refund through the ERC. That's the Employee Retention Credit. It's also known, as the ERC. It's a tax refund for businesses that kept employees on the payroll for parts of 2020 and 2021. So I'll give you an example. This is Bill Goodman, one of the owners of Ford and Goodman, which is an accounting firm. And he's a CPA. Didn't think his business would qualify until he was able to talk to an expert with innovation refunds. Even a CPA like Bill understands just how different that filing for an ERC claim is from doing regular income taxes. So even if you've asked your accountant and they're like, I'm not really sure about it, this is a specific skill set of somebody who knows what they're doing, how to cut through all that bureaucracy. And this is money that may very well be owed to you. You got to do this. If you're a small business owner and you had 5 or more full-time W-2 employees I'm talking about, you can learn about your ERC eligibility just by visiting innovationrefunds.com, or you can always call 1-843-REFUNDS, REFUNDS, 1-843-REFUNDS, and you're going to talk with a team member there. There is no upfront charge here. All right. They don't get paid unless you get paid. Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. They're going to work with an independent network of tax professionals. This is their skill set, like I say, and they're going to share the information with them to evaluate and then help you process your claims. Terms and conditions, of course, apply. But why not just check it out? You have everything to lose, in essence, if you don't check it out. So just do this. InnovationRefunds.com, 1-843-REFUNDS, and they don't take any money or get any money until you get paid. InnovationRefunds.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Kayal and Company, 9:51 as we continue live here on this Monday morning. What's on tap for the Dawn Show and who on Twitter today coming up in just a few moments. But right now it is time once again for the Kayal and Company keyword of the day. What you're going to do is take this word over to 1210WPHT.com and enter it for your chance to win a free trip to Walt Disney World every single morning in the month of September. One keyword, one entry, one person per day. The keyword today is trip, T-R-I-P, as in, did the president trip over a sandbag? T-R-I-P. Will Kamala Harris make a trip to the southern border? T-R-I-P.
But you get a trip to Disney.
That's correct, and it's free, F-R-E-E. All right, so don't complain to me. 1210WPHT.com. Keyword is trip, T-R-I-P. All right, 9:53, the Dawn Show, 7 minutes out, and we find out what's on tap.
Of course, there are so many developments. A news conference planned again by Pennsylvania State Police. We're monitoring all of the updates with that situation. And we have been honoring, of course, the commemoration of September 11th all morning long. And locally, this hit us hard. So we'll, of course, honor those family members who still grieve to this day and update you on, for example, what about the bad guys who are still at Guantanamo? We hear of plea deals, a letter that the family members received fairly recently. So we'll get into that. But coming up at 11, I have a big guest and a big announcement. This is Paula Scanlon, who, of course, locally a swimmer who had to endure her teammate as a biological male. This is Paula Scanlon. She's going to be at a big event in Bucks County. I'll be emceeing that event this evening. Security is tight, so I'll just mention to you, you have to go to protectourchildren.info. You can still register at 7 o'clock in the Richboro, Bucks County area. For Paula's security, they haven't widely publicized this, but people can still sign up, and then you'll get the link as to where it is. Unfortunately, this is the age and the day that we live in.
Yeah. You have to have security for a statement of protecting fairness.
For a young woman as a competitive swimmer to speak out about protecting women's rights.
That makes you a radical.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, their security will be tight, and after all, you got to come through me before you get to Paula. Yes, I'll be.
You'll
I'll
have
be.
to come through me.
That's right, Big Mama,
and me as well. If you're going to get to Dawn, you're going to have to get through Cavalcante, and then me, and then Dawn.
By the way, you're a franchise player on this radio station, Dawn. I don't know if I want you to sacrifice yourself for this. I need you here at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Don't you have a lawn to cut or something?
It's rainy. It's rainy out there.
All right.
We'll talk to Paul. That's coming up at 11. Paul Scanlon, and I really look forward to speaking, with her, hearing from her, and then being at the event this evening. And just to stand up for women. This is the new women's and girls' rights movement.
Yes, it is.
That's happening.
Yep. Okay. Very
Boom.
good. Dawn Show coming up in 5 minutes. Boom. Drops the mic. She'll be back in 5. Right now, we find out who won Twitter today.
Who won Twitter?
Who won Twitter? Sponsored by American Heritage Credit Union. I'm giving it to Road Warrior, our buddy Road Warrior. Nick, you were talking about retirement and age limits for the people in Congress. He says, you're looking at it through the lens of people who have not yet retired. Retirement sucks. What should we do? Play scratch off all day? Ask Bruno. I opened a bike shop shop after 35 years of death and misery. I love it. Don't care about money.
Ask Bruno.
So there you go.
We'll ask Tony about that on Wednesday.
Somebody on the other side of that who, you know, because we can all sit here and say, yeah, retirement sounds great.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, is it that great? I don't know.
Well, I've been unemployed a couple of times. It feels like retirement.
By the way, that should not be into effect for the for Congress, because they should all be, you know.
Exactly.
Well, they could go on.
Put out the pasture.
They could go back to actual work.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if they had to do that?
What a concept.
Like, how many days off do they get in the summer? I know there's allegedly back in their district connecting with their voters, which is a bunch of boo-ha.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a great point, though. If they went back to work at 86 or 90 years old, they couldn't be hired anywhere.
No.
That's true.
So it's making your point. Yeah, go back to work. But I can't be hired anywhere.
Exactly.
American Heritage Credit Union is a place for first-time home buyers with in-house realtors and a $500 lender credit for new homeowners. Visit AmericanHeritageCU.org/FTH for details. Loan subject to credit approval, insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender, and MLS 433838.
All right, that'll do it for us here on a Monday. Stay tuned. The Dawn Show is coming up next. We're back tomorrow morning at 6. Tony Bruno will join us on Wednesday just for the Road Warrior. And as we wrap it up, as Tony Bruno would say,
we don't care about the climate.
So many listeners are enjoying beautiful